Welcome to Strongest Style, a pro wrestling podcast. I am your host, the living legend, Logan Hurston. I'm of course joined by my co-host, the Gimmick Killer, Cooper Prater.
I hope you all appreciate that I've taken time out of both mine and Phoebe Bridgers' schedules to come and be here to talk wrestling with you all.
He is a giant, standing at a whopping 11'9", the man with the greatest combinations of last names in wrestling history, and the undisputed Strongest Style World Heavyweight Champion of the world, Mr. Jack Rose Dudley.
I'm not a shit guy anymore. Do y'all not know that?
No.
Do you know that? This is one of the many thoughtful lyrics in the Ryohei Oiwa theme song.
Is it really?
He's not a shit guy anymore?
It's what it says. You can look at it. It's on the entrance video and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Oscar was clowning on it on commentary all the other night. You got to go through and
I did hear
Ashes through the line.
I heard a friend of the show, Walker Stewart, apparently referenced enemy of the show, Jay Uso, on commentary for one of these
That is
last
so
Look,
fucking funny.
We don't talk the Fed, and we all hate Jey Uso, but I will say, him doing the warning shot thing is kind of funny. It's kind of funny to me.
I saw I guess like the most recent one, and I thought Solo Sikoa's reaction to it was very
Yeah.
The end of the quick WWE update. At the end of that show, they took their one over act in the company in Solo and had him lose a match that forced him to return to the Bloodline.
That's hilarious.
So they've been getting all these reaction clips with Solo, and immediately are like, we can't have anyone getting over that isn't allowed to. In
Solo
the WWE.
has drowned in WWE for the past 2 years. He's finally found his footing as like a character that people like, and they're like, all right, buddy, back to the Bloodline.
Cut it out. Like from Full House.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, I've been, after last week's Wembley rewatch of the 1992 SummerSlam, I've been going through the Macho Man tapes and decided to rewatch the great Bonesaw McGraw versus the Human Spider this week. Because I'm in a Spider-Man mood.
I got you for 5 minutes.
3 minutes of playtime.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's
You
real.
freak!
I'm a fake fan. I'm sorry.
No. Great performance by Late Stage Macho right there. But welcome back. I don't know if this was tweeted or sent when we talked about news, but I have to mention it. The greatest Triple H slander of all time has hit the line.
Oh God! No!
That is
yeah. Can we not?
We don't have to talk about it, but that's going to be used forevermore. Like you can't set up a guy worse than that. Like it's incredible.
Sure.
All right. I can't.
If you know, you know. But Cooper, do you want to lead us off here?
If I never see either of those sets of 3 letters together ever again, it will be too soon. But yes, finally getting into the swing of things on Strongest Style. I broke out the news hound with me. We went snooping around like how you do for truffles, and we dug up all of the, quite frankly, pretty fucking embarrassing wrestling news of the week. This first little segment is kind of a twofer, really. These 2 stories I'm combining into one segment that I would like to call "Look at the State of My American Independent Wrestling," buddies, it's not good. So. The one that came up to my attention first was from the brand new,
literally brand
promotion.
Spanking new.
Yes.
3
Has only
shows
had
in, right?
3 shows exactly. And I watched the first one. I've not watched either of the other 2 yet. I've heard that they are fine. Although I don't know, the Rocky one looks better than the Lee one, or even really, quite frankly, the Gresham one, just from like my personal taste. But Produce is weird for a number of reasons. I don't know how they have the money that they seem to, and they're like they very much just sort of popped up one day, and seemed to like stick their flag in the ground and essentially all but declare themselves the sort of new standard bearer for quality in-ring independent wrestling.
Yes, they very much wanted to be the... Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's like the dissolution of DPW and Prestige and that kind of stuff.
They wanted to take over that spot as like the singular hot indie at any given time. And I suppose still could, but I mean, we'll talk about... Here we go.
Sure.
Here we go.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Here we go.
Well, if you'll remember, a little while ago, after the first produce show with Jonathan Gresham, they announced the lineups or the calendar dates for like the next 4 or 5 of these shows and the different producers of each ones. One of which, following up on, I believe, the Azukar one, so like the one for September, was supposed to be Joey Janela and I think Megan Bain, like in conjunction together, producing the Janelysis Rex show. And, well, fellas, that is not happening anymore. Because Joey Janela put out a statement on everybody's platform, X, the Everything app, also known as Twitter. And he said, "Hello, I regret to inform everyone that Megan Bain and myself will no longer be curating or appearing at the event on September 13th in Jersey City for Produce. A new curator will be appointed for the event, and I wish everyone at Produce continued success." So that was the initial statement, which, like, okay, weird, but shit happens in wrestling. Who knows what it was? Maybe, whatever, the schedules didn't line up. Maybe it could have been anything.
Well, very soon we would find out. It wouldn't take too long before we would find out.
Nope. And so, after that initial statement, Janela then further clarified his precise frustrations that led to this departure from Produce, in which he said that Adam Abdallah, I think, is how his name is pronounced. I apologize if I mispronounced it. But Orange Crush, the guy, organization, entity that runs Produce. I still don't even know necessarily what he does. Really,
he's a photographer.
Yeah, he's always just referred to as Orange Crush. I didn't know for years who this guy was, what the sponsor deal was at all the like WrestleMania weekend shows. To be honest with you, I think for the first 2 years I thought it was like Crush the Soda that was sponsoring the GCW events. And only recently have I really come to figure out that it's like just this one guy. I still thought it was like maybe like I don't know. For a second I was like, maybe it's like some like THC brand or something, and that's why it's hard to find.
That would make so much sense. Yeah. Yes, I understand why you came to that conclusion.
My understanding is because I've actually, before the Produce shows, I knew who this guy was because he I guess he's like a photographer or like some type of like art guy, because he's obviously done like. He's gotten Tekla and Lee Moriarty's art into like art exhibits and stuff. And I know he's put out a book of photography from when GCW ran like backstage photos and stuff when GCW ran Japan. So like I've been aware of him before the produce stuff, but I mean, he just seems like a guy who I guess has a lot of money and likes art. That's my guess.
Okay.
Sure, fair enough. Well, and that's kind of whatever the like driving philosophy behind produce that like he said before is like, it's whatever, it's pro wrestling as art.
Let them,
the show. They've had the shows in like an art gallery in New York and stuff. So, I mean, okay, sure, whatever. But he can spend his money how he wants. Well, anyways, apparently, Joey Janela's flight that was scheduled to New York was canceled. All right. Mm-hmm. And then he apparently informed Adam of this, and Adam offered him a new flight plan, and I guess that would have had to have included driving as well from like Philadelphia into New York. Basically just a much longer, more convoluted schedule or route for Janela to go on. And Janela said that's insane. No, I'm not driving from Philadelphia to New York. I'm not, flying all over the place to get to this one show.
Yeah.
Although apparently I think if the Adam guy is like gonna pay him for all of that, then like cool. But I can understand as not a professional wrestler, but just as a human being who has traveled places, not wanting to waste your time with a longer and more inconvenient travel route than is necessary. But so apparently, Janela then decided to post text screenshots between him and Adam that in which at one point Adam says, and this is the quote from the texts: "Get to the show and don't prioritize bullshit 1 p.m. bookings across the country for half the rate next time." So that that's a cool thing to say to somebody. And,
what are you doing, bro? What are we talking about, man?
Why can't they just be normal, man? Why can't they just be like actually normal people?
Why can't they? Janela then further clarified. At this point, I don't even know why he kept responding to people who were asking for more of this information, but he did. And at this point, the mask of civility has fully dropped from the bad boy, because he said in a follow-up tweet, quote, "Adam has to learn how to speak to people. He was a great friend of mine, also just a great guy, but somewhere within the last year or two that changed. He's become someone that has been absolutely unhinged, deplorable, and embarrassing to others around him, including his friends." So that is the word from one Joseph Janela, and at which point Produce themselves, or I don't know. Yes, it was from the official Produce account, not even the personal Orange Crush account, but the business account of Produce. Went on a whole big thing, trying to, I guess, defend themselves and set the record straight or something like that. I think these tweets have since been deleted, and I cannot find them anymore. But I do know at one point that he said something along the lines of people are uncomfortable with us because we're a company that speaks truth to power, and we fight for what's right in pro wrestling, and all, or some shit like that, some high and mighty bullshit like that. But he did, seemingly after being told by several accounts how fucking embarrassing this was, take to basically saying that, like, Joey's welcome back here whenever he wants, and it's all love, and yada yada yada. And he was like, let my passion get the best of me. Sorry, guys. And I think he has maybe since logged off for now. But it's only a matter of time before he logs back on, I guess. So, it's not the first time that a independent wrestling promoter has made a fucking fool of themselves, and perhaps fully shot their promotion in the foot before they have even really got a chance to get off the ground with their own delusions of grandeur. But it is certainly one of the funniest, and I for one, as Orange Crush's lawyer, encourage him to keep posting. So.
That's evil, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's sad to me because I was really rooting for Produce, and that's why I said the thing. I was like, maybe they can still bounce back. But I mean, talk about shooting yourselves in the foot early. Why?
R.I.P.
Is this guy that owns it so weird and shitty?
R.I.P. that Hell Comes to Dogtown.
I know. I want to see Hell Comes to Dogtown.
I wonder if they're still doing the one with. Let me see if I can find. Have they deleted the Twitter? Because what's the show we're trying to?
The action.
Yeah, the action
one. The Dean.
Not Dean.
Yeah.
The tribute show.
Well, I think they're collaborating on Dean together.
The one that me and Jack were talking about going in Chattanooga.
And the Watley Invitational.
Oh,
the Watley. Yeah.
TWE. Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
The thing about this is, like, it would suck a whole lot less if it was just like some, annoying indie in a sea of indies doing something stupid. But I mean, it's like they're up against Janela and GCW, and obviously Orange Crush guy is an absolute moron. But GCW sucks so bad, and I don't want to fucking watch it anymore. I just want there to be a good indie out there that I can watch.
I will say,
that's the thing.
I will say,
I mean, action is good. Action is good sometimes, but like I want something that's trendy, and like everyone's watching.
Especially since West Coast is also just God.
I didn't even get into Vinny Massaro's whole thing recently, and how West Coast is like also has delusions of grandeur about themselves, because it would take too much time. But I mean, look. I think I said it all when I introduced the segment. Look at the state of my American independence, dude.
Oh God.
GCW has been shit for a very long time now. There was a brief little window there where it was genuinely pretty cool. And I think we caught literally the exact tail, the exact end of that at the whatever that first Atlanta show.
When Gage showed up and everything.
Right.
That was right there at the end. It started when they tried to do that pay-per-view, the Hammerstein.
Yeah, the Hammerstein stuff really fucking fucked them. But and I don't know, indie wrestling has always been full of just carny bullshit, and even more so than the WWE somehow. Just if you take cumulatively the amount of carny bullshit that has happened in each independent wrestling organization. But it does just really become disheartening, and it I think maybe just re-clarifies what a flash in the pan kind of lightning in a bottle sort of thing DPW was, that like, you know, maybe just something that was like that genuinely good like can't survive in this environment. And who knows, maybe, you know, those boys had to be shittier on Twitter and in person to have a company last longer, but yeah. I don't know.
Well, the thing too about DPW and why I think like where you get really murky is two things from this. One, I'm sad to see an idiot like this all happen, but also I'm kind of tired of GCW involvement in Orange Crush, so if that cancels out GPW involvement,
the GCW stuff in produce is the worst.
So like, I'll be kind of happy if that kind of goes away from this. If he moves on and learns, maybe I shouldn't tweet. Like, I think most promoters realize maybe I shouldn't tweet ever is like a good strategy.
Yeah. If this ends up being a Tony Khan situation where he just like shuts the fuck up and just like does straight promo like the whole time from now on, then cool, whatever. That's
but the other thing about like why DPW I think, and this is like different than produce, is DPW, you know, it's obviously started by YouTubers, but like they really focused on building up their own North Carolina scene and like using those guys first, and really didn't bring in too many. I mean, definitely didn't bring in, like, I think the only name they brought in those first couple of years was like Takeshita, and even then it was like very early. Boys barely was doing anything. He was just working dark, you know.
Before he was, you know, Takeshita proper,
and they had built up their own stock before getting like, you know, it'd be like one or two big names to show. They really built the indies where like the produce shows are just AEW talents on half of them, and you know, along with some indies and they do seem to have their own guys, you know, like it seems like Mad Dog's working like almost every show, and Oni King and stuff, but you know, I think when you try to go big at the start, it can almost never end well. Like when you try to be a super indies almost never work out, and they have like no identity to them by the end of it. Like I feel like GCW has like barely any identity even with the same guys, because it's like, here's Shotzi Blackheart and here's AJ Styles Kid. Speaking of AJ Styles Kid,
oh yeah, part 2 of Look at the State of My Independent Wrestling. Yes, one Avery Styles, who I think literally just had his second match ever, just recently,
his life
at a GCW event.
Teaming up with
they will take
Little
anybody.
Doc Jr.
Yes, that is right. The original something else that starts with O club that they had going on there. Yes, they apparently he had this match at GCW, and you know, people seem to be cautiously optimistic, I think, about the kid and his chances in wrestling. I have only seen his stuff through, like, you know, whatever, Twitter clips. So, and I'm not going to make myself watch a full match of his to further my opinion. But from those little clips that I've seen, I could say that I think that he is very evidently athletic and, you know, talented in that regard, and that he is able to, you know, execute pretty complicated sequences for, you know, certainly for somebody his age. But, you know, he literally just started, so I can't say anything about, you know, whatever his psychology or, you know, how he really like works a match, because he's not supposed to be doing that stuff.
I mean, right, he's 19 years old.
Yeah, he's supposed to be fucking, you know, working the exact same match over and over again against, you know, people who are older and better than him, who will, you know, show him how to incorporate aspects of psychology and character into his game. And that's a process that in an ideal world would take literal years for the young Styles before getting, any kind of traction or attention from major companies. But because he is who he is and his father is who his father is, that is not going to happen for him. And he is going to be, I fear, fast-tracked far beyond what he is capable of. And that is not necessarily his fault. What is his fault, perhaps, is maybe buying into the hype a little bit. So he had this match at GCW, and a lot of people were talking, pretty positive about his performance. I think Natty, in particular, who I think was also maybe on that GCW show, had very nice things to say about him. And some guy who I want to be quite honest with, I've never heard this name before in my life before like a couple days ago. Some GCW wrestler named Eric Cannon. That's Eric with a A and a K, just so you know. But Eric Cannon responded in, I guess, the replies of Natty's post. He says, "As somebody who watched this kid skirt away from helping with a single thing at this very show, I'd like to say LO effing L." And then, of course, AJ, being the spurned father that he is, came in to protect his precious baby boy. And he said he was paid to wrestle at GCW, not help you put up and take down the ring. That sounds like your job. You just sound like a jealous douche.
This is worse than the produce one. This one really this one really upsets me.
Exponentially worse.
Yeah. Oh my god. There are so many nepo babies in wrestling, but so rarely, and in entertainment, just in general, in life. But so rarely does the mask just come off like this. Totally.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it.
It's not every day that the actual, parent of said nepo baby, like, legitimately, like, in public, swoops down.
I know.
to play defense.
It's like, it's my boy. Hop off my boy. No, really, like, I get it in the case of, I can see there being an argument, that this is a weird, like, the idea that everyone needs to, come together and help when they're young is like old school mentality that should be reevaluated. But in this case, when it's just, you're really starting out, it's a shitty little indie, it's different. It really is different from the old territory days, where they can... It's different just when you're working for a shitty little company trying to put on something that probably won't break even, and everyone's in it together, and you are, again, like the guy who's most likely to end up having an actual future career in wrestling compared to everyone else around you, than if you were being paid well by a moderately big company. Like, of course, the right thing to do is to help out. Obviously, being humble at the start is important because of what I said. Like, even though they're all indie wrestlers, even though they're all being paid shit right now, I still would not doubt that Styles is being paid more than a guy in his second match of his career normally is. But he's also got... Like,
he's probably getting paid more than Eric Cannon.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
But even beyond that, there's the idea that, like, obviously he will get to the big time eventually, and a lot of these guys won't, and it's not a given. So it's like, I mean, it's not shitty in like, oh my god, kill this guy. But it is...
No, of course not.
It is, it just it strikes something deep in you, like that just primal, like, oh, that's unfair, feeling.
It's evident of a mentality that just is antithetical to, like, I don't know, just what I think your mentality should be if you're going into professional wrestling.
Really a great many jobs, to be honest. But
right.
Especially something like this, like an indie wrestling show.
Yeah, because, like, I get, like, Avery is at a weird place because he is so young.
He's younger than us.
Yeah.
He's younger than us. And he is, being treated like a fucking guy right now. And he's like getting flown out probably to this GCW show. And I can understand there's, like, wires that are being crossed maybe in his head that are telling him, that he is above this stuff already. But on the other hand, like, I think it says not only just about him maybe professionally, where his head is at, but also just personally. And granted, I don't know any of these people. I don't know anything. I don't even know if whatever Eric Cannon said actually happened or not. But the way that Eric Cannon describes it, he apparently asked Avery, hey, can you help put away some of these chairs? And Avery, like, hid away in the locker room and just waited until everybody was done. And, like, if that did happen, just put up the chairs. Like, is it really that big off a weight off of your shoulders, to just lug some metal around for a little bit?
Right.
Like, what else are you doing? Like, I'm sorry.
No, that's true.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not saying the kid has to go through whatever, like, the dojo system and fucking, cook Joey Janela's meals and, wash Nick Gage's laundry or something. But, like, I don't know. Maybe I am saying that. Maybe it would be good if he did all of that stuff. I don't know. It just, like, if he wants to, he can be really successful in pro wrestling. But I will say, just having a famous last name, kayfabe as it may be, does not guarantee you success. You can either take the road that has been not proven, but certainly, tested more by legitimate, like, stars of the business who are incredibly well respected. You can either take that road, or you can buy into your own hype. You can rest on your laurels, and you can become Zilla Fatu in House of Glory. Like,
who just got signed to NXT finally.
Yeah, right. But who cares? But who gives a shit about Zilla Fatu? Like,
no,
I'm sorry.
That's true. I'm just, like, no, you're right. I'm just saying, like, again, like, you can be an asshole, and these guys are awarded the ability to, act like this, and will still get chances that nobody else will.
Yeah.
Which sucks. And Avery knows that. I'm sure he knows that. He's not a dumbass. He's got his father still working for the WWE right now, and going to bat. And I don't know if y'all saw this either, but another one of the greatest Nepo babies in wrestling history, Cody Rhodes, also talked about this just a few hours ago, right before we started recording. And basically did a big, because he responded to the Eric Canyon post too, because Eric actually called Cody out with, like, a sort of subtle way by showing a picture of him in the ring, like mopping up some or dusting up some
yes.
glass after.
Yeah.
Cody eventually responded to that and said, "Eric, my friend, no shade intended, but here's my outlook. Avery is 19. His father was paying dues and making sacrifices throughout that young man's youth that some people may never understand. When you're the family holding down the fort, he's practically already set up the effing chairs," which is so ridiculous.
That's not
And
how that works.
so funny for him to say.
My father set up these chairs. I wasn't home, so that's my dues. That's my respect. Hilarious.
Cody is a big believer in the monarchy.
Well, like
Yeah.
again, it's the
The dues are passed down genetically.
Right, it's divinely inspired.
it is funny him to do that when like he was like, here's an image of Cody literally sweeping the glass out of the ring after the show or something like that. No, this is all funny. It's all hilarious. It's all stupid. There's nepo babies, and like as we get farther and farther, they're gonna do less and less, and who cares? That's just life. Like my thing is like this is a big nothing burger. As soon as I saw Avery Styles and in his first match, his dad was in the ring raising his hand, and it was all over social media. I'm like, yeah, that kid's already signed. The kid's already got a contract.
Yeah.
He don't care about the indie.
Man.
It would be different if AJ wasn't in WWE for now the majority of his career, for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But, he hasn't worked in Indie Date in a decade. So it's like, he doesn't have to do that in the Fed. Brother, they're already working. He's already working the Good Brothers. He's already working a top-tier tag team. Don't you laugh, Jack.
Right.
The Good Brothers have been grinding the indies this year. They have maybe the most matches, up there for most matches if you look at their cage match, man.
Like for real?
Yeah, they have
Wow.
a good amount of I mean, they work in
No, that is cool.
real worker Carl Anderson. Sadly not in the
Mm-hmm.
N1. Speaking of the N1, Cooper, your favorite tournament's right around the corner.
That's right. The only Japanese round robin tournament that you need to be watching this summer.
That
The
cannot
N1 victory
possibly be true.
There
There is
right
no
around the
fucking way
corner.
that is true.
What do you mean? Bro, we got
There is no
Chin.
There's no way, and I'm not even saying this from the new superfan perspective. There's no fucking way that the N1 is the premier wrestling tournament to be watching this summer.
You obviously
I
aren't
refuse. I
watching-
refuse to believe
When
that.
was the last time you watched a Pro Wrestling Noah match, Jack?
When was the last time I watched a Pro Wrestling Noah match? Was probably shit.
See, he has no
think I've
stance
watched-
here. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I've not watched any of the
gotta-
Naito matches. I saw
gotta get on the arc.
the lineup, Logan. I saw the fucking lineup.
Yeah, bro, we got Chin.
You got-
Chin in this tournament.
You got.
All right, okay. Okay,
You
y'all
simply
go ahead.
have to get on the arc. But look, it's leaving whether or not you want it to. All right, so you either hop on or get left behind. But yes, the N1 Victory 2026 block lineups have been announced, and I would like to thank Christ for the for the Pro Wrestling Noah social media intern that put this post together, because they thankfully gave us not only the participants but all of their nicknames as well by them. So that's half the fun here. In Block A,
I haven't actually seen this part, so I'm excited.
in A block, we have the Prince of Madness, Kaito Kiyomiya.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Which-
Really?
Is a change, because I remember when they were calling Kaito Kiyomiya Galaxy View,
Yes, that was yes.
and he wore the little rainbow coats and everything. So I don't know if he's had a gimmick change yet or not. I know that his shit little faction broke up. So maybe that spurned this. But anyways, he is in the block along with fan favorite and favorite of this show, Mr. Smack Daddy Yoshiki Inamura.
Mm-hmm. With the hat.
Yes. The former hysterical, now hearts on fire, Shane Haste.
Former
Haste.
GHC heavyweight champion.
Yes, of course. Finally lost that belt to the ungovernable one himself. Also in A block, we have the Passion General DDT's Yuki Ino. It's for those who are fans of dick spots involving the dick area.
Right up my alley.
You'll be sure to tune in to Yuki Ino's N1 matches. Okay, now we have some real shit. The Beast.
All right.
Old Ironhead, Kazuyuki Fujita. Let's
go!
fucking go!
It doesn't get any better than that. Yeah.
God damn, I can't wait for him to stare at these fucks for 30 minutes. That's gonna be so fucking cool.
I should tear Reno's dick off.
He should, yeah, honestly. He should headbutt it.
Yeah.
Then, making, I believe, his Pro Wrestling Noah debut, gentlemen, NXT 2.0 lives on the arc. The Southeast Asian standout, leave the Dante, it's Chen.
Yes, it is Chen.
Clap, get into it.
I don't think I'm familiar with Chin. Is this someone I should know?
Dante Chen, brother, from
Dante
NXT
Chen
2.0. Famously wrestled the Street Warrior, the Street Champion, Solo Sikoa, and Gunther, and Zion
Was he one of the ones
Quinn?
that went to AJPW or not yet?
No, brother,
no?
he has been somehow on the NXT 2.0 contract for like 5 years, and they've done nothing with
Really?
him.
He's been like until recently?
I think he was recently
Okay, yeah, I do
released.
recognize him when he had the look with the paint. Yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Well, you can watch him wrestle 1, 2, 3.
Dude, he's got like a little Doki mask
6.
in one of these.
You can watch him wrestle 7 more times.
Fuck.
I will
If
be.
you watch all of his in one.
Well, he'll be facing
matches.
Fujita in one of them, so.
He will. He's also going to be facing the Godfather, which I guess is what they were for. I don't know why they gave him that shit nickname. Probably because he joined Team 2000X. But I liked his older nickname more. The Murder Machine, Takashi Sugiura. I fucking love him. And also a member of Team 2000X, the Lunatic Wolf, Alpha Wolf.
Now,
And that rounds out your...
here's where the nicknames get good.
Here is where the nicknames get incredible.
Oh, wow.
Starting things off for B Block, we have Mr. Pain in the Ass.
Ask Jack who he thinks that is. Who do you think that is, Jack?
Tell me, Jack.
Is that Ozawa?
No. One more guess.
No.
Shit.
Big name.
Is it Kino?
It's Kiddo.
It is!
Yeah! That's a good nickname for Kino. That's well,
it does fit.
Well done.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that is the most Mr. Pain in the Ass looking motherfucker I've ever seen.
That's very good.
Yes. I assume we are all familiar with the Black Sun. That is, of course, the Noah Stalwart, the prodigal son who has returned home. All caps when you spell the man's name, Kenta.
White
he is in
Raven
B block.
Squad.
Yeah.
Right.
Then we have the Elegant Avenger, Tetsuya Endo.
Yeah, I don't know who that
Clap.
is at all.
What?
Get into it. Former
What do you
DDT. guy.
mean?
I don't think so. I don't think I know that name. Let's see.
You don't know Indo, bro?
I'm
That-
looking.
You don't know ball.
Tetsuya
That's
Endo.
entirely reasonable.
Tetsuya Endo wrestler.
He was not very good, and he still is
What?
not very good.
Tetsuya. Okay, I thought you said okay. Yeah, I still don't know if I've ever seen Indo. I mean, I'm sure I have, but like, probably not. It probably didn't stick with me.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I don't watch like much DDT at all.
Yeah. He was the other guy in Damnation with Daisuke Sasaki.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Sasaki Moggs though, so yeah, I can't blame anybody for forgetting old Tetsuya. Then we have the tag partner of the Passion General, Yuki Ino, the Passion Boss,
my goat,
Manabu Soya.
Well, you know why they're called that, right?
They're passionate rattles, aren't they?
The GHC Tag Team Champions.
Yeah. Exactly. Man, Soya has got to be up there for like fucker.
That's my goat,
right?
He's got the like warlord hair, right?
Okay, this is gonna hurt you guys.
I know that Manabu Soya is not your goat.
He's up there.
No, he isn't. You're lying. You're lying to the people.
Just wait for those Wrestler of the Year 2026 polls to come out, and we will see if it's my goat or not.
I will.
This is the hard truth. I'm gonna let you continue, and then I'll tell you what I need to say at the end.
Get your shit off about your goat.
No, I'll get my stuff off about Pro Wrestling Noah as a whole. This is the hard pill to swallow, but there's been some really good matches and storylines of Pro Wrestling Noah this year. And, I think...
You just like Shane Hayes.
No, I think their tag league was pretty good, too. I think the Passionate Rattles are a good team, and I think this probably will be better than...
Passionate Rattles.
You gotta watch their matches, man.
Okay. I've watched enough.
I was horrified you were about to say that it was going to be better than the G1 Gym.
No. I was not going to say.
Like, you cannot reasonably tell me that to my fucking face.
I don't think the N1 will be better than the G1. However, I think the Neo Genesis Tag League has a chance of being better than World Tag League this year.
That's not impossible.
That's what the Neo Genesis Tag League, good tournament. For the real
I think that the Luchador World Heavyweight Championship tournament on Raw might be better than World Tag League this year.
Anyways, we're not done because we have 4 more names in B block. The work in progress, Kuga.
Oh yeah,
is making his N1 debut. Coming to you all the way from the West Coast. The franchise, Titus Alexander.
The fucking franchise.
That's one of the Monday Magic 3 Musketeers right there.
That's right. That's the modern day Masahiro Chono. You gotta put some fucking respect on Titus Alexander.
Honestly, we should just get rid of the franchise. The nickname should just be modern day Masahiro Chono.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Chono would probably be down for it too. Then we have, literally though, my goat, and I am not joking.
It's true.
About this.
He's great.
The chairman, Masa Kitamiya. I fucking love Kitamiya.
It's
awesome.
Too bad he's having a bad year, but we can't help that with Team 2000X.
Yeah, nobody's having a good year, so
Shane
it all
Hayes
comes
is
out
having
in the
a
wash.
good year,
bro. Whatever. And then, Jack, you will be so excited to hear that the real Rebel is coming to the N1.
Who do you think that is, Jack?
What?
Who do you think
that is probably Ozawa, right?
That's Ozawa.
Yeah. I've heard that one before. That's moderately famous. Yeah. I mean, expected.
So.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Good lineup.
Clap, get into
it. For Noah. I can't believe that, I can believe that Naito isn't doing it, obviously. I am a little surprised. Does Bushi? I thought he was working as a heavyweight. Is he only a heavyweight in that he won the heavyweight tag title? Because I kind of thought they might try and get Bushi to do it in one. Maybe they're saving him. Maybe they're saving him for the juniors. I'm surprised that Marufuji isn't willing to do it because I'm pretty sure he was in last year.
He's busy evolving.
Yeah,
so
he's going to have to
give
keep
time.
evolving. But I don't think there's any other egregious omissions. I mean, the no roster is pretty slim these days. I did hear, I mean, the other thing, obviously, that we haven't even talked about is that Naito, we can touch on real quick, went and won the GHC championship.
I watched that match.
Before they announced this.
I watched that match. That was what I was going to pivot to next, brother. Because, unlike...
Was it good?
Unlike you fake Naito head out here, hasn't watched a Naito match since he's left your glorious New Japan. Real Naito heads have been watching.
I wasn't watching many
run.
Naito matches for the last few months of him being in New Japan.
Well, this was Naito's best match since probably the Sonata match at Wrestle Kingdom. Because it was a Shane Hayes carry job of the century. They must have, I think, two things. I think, one, Hayes is a good wrestler. I think, two, they shot something in Naito's knees. Oh my gosh! Speaking of Naito's knees and stem cells, so I told you before the podcast, Jack, that I'm watching all these Spider-Man movies, watching The Amazing Spider-Man, and at one point they asked the Lizard, they were like, "So what is your study? Like, what are you trying to do to like heal people?" And someone's like, "Stem cells." And I was like, in 2012? We knew about it back then.
No way.
That's what saved Rey Mysterio's knees, brother.
Logan, we've known about stem
I'm just not tapped in.
for fucking
I'll
decades.
Be honest, I wasn't tapped in until I started hearing about it everywhere the last couple years for wrestling.
Sorry.
So I was like,
the guy who gets all of his scientific news from pro wrestling.
Dude, this is what we're all liberal arts students.
Yeah,
now.
come on, bro. I'm not tapped in at all. The most
fucking CLA.
The most I get for human science, I have one doctor friend who informs us of all the nasty things he has to learn about, like hemorrhoids or something like that, and that's it. I know nothing else.
How long have those been around?
But hey, the N1 is going to be good. Get ready for your weekly N1 catch-ups. I'll cover that.
He'll watch every single match.
I'll watch every match.
He better. He better.
Oh god,
Logan,
funny.
you'll get an automatic buy for the strongest style championship if you watch every N1.
Honestly, I'm proud of myself for getting halfway through the G1 before falling off. I think if I didn't,
it's not easy.
If I think I didn't go on that vacation, I probably would have watched it all. But like once I stopped watching, I'm like, I'm not watching Jake Lee versus Great O'Khan. I'm sorry, brother, that's not happening.
That one was a little bit funny, but my brain is destroyed.
Yeah, you can't tell me. Okay. Are we going New Japan or are we going? I've already forgotten the order. Are we going?
I think we should go ahead and do the G1 real quick, right?
Well, we have
yes.
one more segment
Oh,
to get through,
Honestly,
gentlemen.
that's my
We got a little ahead of ourselves, having too much fun. Have to bring it back down for a little bit because, fellas, I hate to inform you, but the pro wrestling world lost a absolute legend of the business this past week. One Dory Funk Jr. Passed away on August 4th of 2026. He was 85 years old, and he has looked 85 for the past 4 decades. So, very, very impressive run of life. If you can get that way, you should probably do it. But not many people get a chance to. But yeah, obviously, brother of Terry, son of Midori Sr., the Funk legacy in Texas and in the early days of the territory system has been well documented and talked about by so many other people. What I I would like to talk about, though, in relation to Dory Jr. specifically, is the fact that I watched what ended up being his last ever match, in which he was, I believe, at the time at least, I don't know if this record has been surpassed since, the oldest participant in a exploding barbed wire rope death match.
Well, you gotta remember the actual name. That is the what is it? The Double Hell Current Explosion death match.
Yes, that is right. From Onita's FMW little thing reboot that he's still trying to get off the ground. But yeah, which is funny because like Dory never really delved into the hardcore shit the way that like Terry did.
Yeah.
He was always traditionally like much more traditional wrestler. His NWA world title run in the early 70s is quite, his stuff is quite famous for how grounded he would get. Those matches would be these, very traditional kind of like, Broadway, like, 30 minutes to an hour, time limit kind of affairs. Even when, teaming with Terry, the All Japan stuff was very by the books, and he never really got into all the various shenanigans that his brother did. So I think it's funny that I guess Onita, for his thing, wanted to have some semblance of the Funk's hardcore legacy, and he got the least hardcore one of them all, maybe, to do it. But that match is funny to watch, though. And by funny, I mean incredibly sad.
No,
but
I watched it too before this podcast.
Yeah. I'm sure you did.
It's like surreal to watch, because not only like is Dory 83 has to get helped into the ring, cannot move. Like I think the most he does is like a chin lock, other than like taking the barbed wire back, the exploding back to the back. But his tag partner, Osamu Nishimura, has stage 4 cancer and had to get a waiver to be in the match.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and
wow.
I think it may have been one of his final matches too. I think it may have been his last match too.
It was.
And it's like, and he's doing insane. Like he's bumping too.
All right.
Nishimura's
he's
good.
good.
Yeah.
He still has punches even then.
He was always good at it, even with cancer.
Yeah. It's just like, it's kind of like, it's moving. That, again, it was a tribute to Onita, and it was also a tribute to, that match was a tribute to Terry Funk's passing a year after that. That his 83-year-old brother would want to fly to Japan to wrestle in a match where he's going to get hit and explode, something he would never do, kind of thing. Like the love of a man and the love of pro wrestling, But yeah, it was interesting looking back at Dory's career, because I think he's, again, compared to Terry, everybody talks about Terry, but he's the second longest reigning NWA heavyweight champion ever. I went back and watched what surviving footage of his championship win was available, which was in black and white because it was in 1969. And
I also watched that footage on the WWE Vault channel.
And I went back and watched some of his HAPW tags with Terry against Abby and Giant Baba and Fujinami. If I remember correctly, I'll be right. But yeah, he's like the polar opposite of Terry in almost every way. Where Terry's like very much like wildfire, no pun intended. That he's more of like the chillax type of guy, just get you in a hold you there. The tapes are lost when he could win the world championship with a spinning toe hold. We need to bring that back.
Right. Well, Punk is
I
trying
know, right?
On the house shows.
But yeah, I mean, it's brutal to, it's brutal anytime anybody passes away. But it is sad that we have neither of the Funk brothers with us anymore. So.
It is,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, I think it's awesome. Death is, sad. It is just horribly sad and tragic, especially something like this. Someone who, like a real, artist, a real pioneer in this thing that we all love. But I love that the Funks, and I mean, to be blunt, I love that they both ended up living long, fulfilling lives. When so many people, like I always say, like of that era just didn't, and, ended up kind of crashing and burning in some way or another. I think it's awesome that they continued. They're kind of, both of them are very singular in how long they really went and just kept on, giving back and giving back and giving back and staying a part of wrestling forever, even as wrestling was changing. I mean, you can go back, like you said, and watch the really old 70s funk stuff and see just it's like a whole different thing. In some ways, it's so, like, it hardly resembles what mainstream wrestling at least is today. But they, weren't like they were never afraid of that. They never shied away from it. Both of the guys were stayed fans their whole lives, continued to wrestle for their whole lives. Dory maybe didn't reinvent himself frequently in the same way that Terry did, but he was still around. And again, they touched both the U.S. and the Japanese scene in ways that most wrestlers could never even dream of. And yeah, I mean, it is sad whenever you hear about something like this, but I'm really glad that the Funks were around and stuck around for as long as they did. Because now what's happened is, like, the way that wrestling has worked out, the way that the WWE has kind of tried to restart the wrestling timeline at Hulkamania and forget anything that happened before that or happened outside of it. Like, if it wasn't for Terry kind of doing his thing for so long and being a part of ECW and whatever else, like, they wouldn't be remembered as the pioneers they are, and many wrestlers of that era aren't. But the Funks are, both of them are. They're widely celebrated, and I think that's just fantastic. I think everyone should do themselves a favor and go and watch some old footage of the Funk brothers and Dory, especially because just absolutely one of one Dory was.
Yeah, that era of wrestling, so much of it is lost, just entirely. And the fact that we have any of it really, to go back and that we have Dory's NWA title win against Gene Kiniski, is kind of a small miracle in and of itself. And yeah, you can see in that clip that's now up on YouTube just how, like, yeah, it's such a different mentality, but the, like, the core of this thing is still largely the same.
I think
like,
that is something, a good point.
The crowd goes fucking nuts for that spinning toe hold, man. Like, it's and Dory, when he finally gets it, he's jumping all over the place, and it's the same, like, big emotion that you feel in the best of today's product, but just the trappings around it are more subdued and not realistic, but aiming for more of a realistic tone. but yeah, and you kind of also can't necessarily talk about Dory and his legacy without talking about the just incredible list of legends that he had a hand in training. Like, that is the whole, like, basically other part of Dory's life and career is as a incredible, like, maker and spotter of talent. Even from as early as, the Funk family, everybody, Terry and Dory Sr. included, having a hand in shaping Jumbo Tsuruta, on his excursion into the States, or up into being one of the first people to get a look at the pro wrestling beginnings of Kurt Angle, and being able to spot these people who would just go on to have stellar careers of their own, in part because of the wisdom and the knowledge that the Funks passed down on to them. Like, it's one thing to have a Hall of Fame career of your own, and that's impressive, and a lot of people do have that. But then to be able to count a small part of yourself in several hundred Hall of Fame careers, outside of yourself, then that's a whole other accomplishment. I do also want to just mention really quick, talking about just like the early territory days and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. My dad talks with me sometimes about like his early like memories of watching wrestling as like a kid, mm-hmm. and he would get a lot of his like the local stations in Heflin, Alabama, would pick up the stuff over in Georgia and Florida, the Carolinas, that kind of the regional areas of the Southeast. But they wouldn't necessarily get as far as Texas. They certainly wouldn't get as far as New York, and they wouldn't. He wouldn't have any idea what was happening over there. So he would watch, whatever, Mid-South or Mid-Atlantic or Georgia Championship Wrestling or stuff like that. And he would see a lot of big stars because there was just still a lot of big stars coming through all of the territories at the time. But there's just some names that he could never watch the matches of, but he would, as a kid, get early pro wrestling magazines from the newsstand, mm-hmm. And it was through that he heard, about the territories in other parts of the country and who the champions of those places were. He was like, he would tell me, I said, I've never, to this day, even seen a Bruno Sammartino match, but I knew that Bruno Sammartino was WWF or WWF world champion for my entire childhood. Every time I would turn to the page of list of champions, there's Bruno Sammartino. And he was like, he was telling me one time that the only like NWA World's Heavyweight Champions that he actively remembers, like from his childhood, being either on like highlights on TV or like reading through the magazines or something, was during the run of Dory Funk Jr., Jack Briscoe, mm-hmm. and like Harley Race. And like that's about it. And because by the time that Flair gets it, he's like in early high school, and it starts being lame to watch wrestling. And so he like stops, he like cuts out of it, like right as Flair is about to become the all conquering force of the NWA. He would like tap back in every once in a while for it, but like yeah, Dory Funk Jr. is like one of my dad's early pro wrestling memories, and I would kind of get this little secondhand knowledge from him about that. So yeah, I mean just a absolutely stellar life and career. I mean, Christ, lived more life than 90% of the Earth's population ever will get to. And yeah, it is just a little, the wrestling world is a little less knowledgeable with him not around. So.
Welcome back to Strongest Style. It is time to talk about the G1 Climax.
The Grade 1 Climax 36 has continued on this week. Once again, 4 shows leading us all the way up to the very last 2 nights of block action, which happened tomorrow and the next day. And then this weekend, the semifinal and the final. By the time you, my dear listener, are hearing this, if you hear it on our release day on Friday, we will be right before the playoffs begin. But I can only go with the information I have right now, so let's get started. On Thursday, August 6th, yes, on Thursday, August 6th, we had the G1 in Korakuen Hall for the first time this tournament, the home base of New Japan. Sold that thing out and had one of the best nights of block action thus far. We had, to kick off that night, Yuto Ice versus Sonata. And this was a very fun match, a very fun short little match. It wasn't anything special, but they had, like again I mentioned last week, there have been a lot of cool build-ups for these matches. When I think that proves more than anything how much the wrestlers are invested in it, because they're kind of coming up with the little mini stories. I don't think Gato is getting in the weeds of booking like the random things they come up with for single matches in the G1. In this case, Yuto Ice spoke a lot about how he, the first match he ever watched in wrestling was a Seiya Sonata All Japan match. A tag team match, I think, when he was teaming with the aforementioned fucked fucker Soya. And that was one of the things that inspired him to be a pro wrestler, when he realized, he was so obsessed with strength as a young little kid who kind of grew up in in a hard, tougher part of the town. He was like hung out in those sorts of crowds, and he was obsessed with being perceived as a tough guy. And when he saw Japanese pro wrestling, which was all about showing your fighting spirit, showing your toughness, he was drawn to it, and Sonata was a big part of that. Conversely, Sonata talked about how, and he's back talking in backstage comments, by the way, for those who don't know. Sonata has talked about how part of the reason why he's come back from injury with this kind of renewed lease on life, this reinvigoration, is because he heard that Yuto Ice promo hut at New Year Dash that everyone heard, that like big rallying cry, get behind us, the future of New Japan. We're going to create something that only we can. and apparently really took it to heart. So he was very excited to get in the ring with Yuto and feel if he could back up those words. They went out to the ring, and Sonata came out in, his big gold suit that he's been coming out to this entire tournament. But then after he derobed and took it off, and he was wearing the old blue Macho Man starred Seiya Sonata gear from back in his All Japan run, which is a fun little touch. He hasn't donned that in a very, very long time. And it was presented as a very respectful match, worthy of the build up. They kind of worked like Sonata's been working. He's been really crisp and clean and hitting his moves. At the very end of the match, after they'd kind of just run through all their signature spots, Hanamaru came out and tried to do the whiskey in the eyes on Yuto, tried to convince Sonata seemed apprehensive at first. He seemed like he wasn't so sure that he wanted to let the house meddle with this one that seemed so important to him. But so after that, he tried to sort of get Kanemaru away for a little bit. Then he was very clearly on the losing side of the match for a bit. Knocks over the referee during the O'Connor roll spot that he always does. And then Kanemaru gets the guitar, which we have not seen at all since Sonata returned from... Well, no, he hit Takeshita with it, I believe. No, he hit him with the belt when he returned. I don't think we've seen the guitar at all since Sonata
we haven't.
returned from injury. We haven't?
I don't think so.
Yes, I don't think it's shown up at all. Kanemaru finds one under the ring. Who the hell put that there? Slides it in, and Sonata again seems very apprehensive. He tries to pick Yuto Ice up without using the guitar. They get into a little scuffle again, but Sonata eventually does resort to hitting the low blow and gets the guitar shot. And then Yuto Ice actually loses another match to KO 10 count, which again is a very funny trend for the Knockout Brother. He's lost more than half of his matches to that. Up next, we had Jake Lee versus the Great Okan, the United Empire's clash. At first, Great Okan comes in very fucking annoyed and frustrated that he's having to do this at all. He wants Jake Lee to sort of just lay down for him, but he is refusing to. Jake's clowning around. They do a bunch of bullshit with the chair because Okan's trying to get it in and the ref doesn't want to. Then while the ref is at one point turned around, Jake Lee does the classic, Eddie Guerrero spot with the banging the chair, then framing Okan for having hit him, and it does disqualify Okan and get the Jester the 2 points for that match. Short little comedy match there, but it's probably Okan's best match of the entire tournament.
And he's out.
Oh, and then after...
He was out of contention.
Oh, and this was also... Yes. This was Okan's mathematic elimination. He was the first one out. And we will talk more about Okan in a second. There's some very spicy shit to talk about with him. Also, a fun post-match here. Okan was very upset and wanted to still hit Jake Lee with the chair, but then dangerous JAY had to come out and play peacekeeper and console the Great Okan and keep them all a friendly faction. To lead into Hiroki Goto versus Ryohei Oiwa. This was kind of a pretty cool match. Oiwa has been doing this thing, I think I talked about last time, where he's been trying to win matches with a very snug side headlock submission. Because, him and Yuya are all about this like back to basics approach. And this was another one of his matches that was entirely based around that. The working the head and neck and just trying to drag Goto down. Goto would have sort of random bursts of power fighting back with it, but he did actually eventually succumb to what at least on the website is referred to as the Big Lock, which is hilarious if that's actually the name. The Big Lock.
Big Lock.
That's a good name for a finisher. But yeah, I was shocked by this one because Goto is still freshly off that world championship win. I wasn't surprised that Oiwa beat him, but I was surprised that he beat them with this kind of humiliating submission move that he's come up. I felt like a very real, one of the most wide-eyed, like, hey, this really is kind of a changing the guard kind of G1. And Goto, I think, also was mathematically eliminated with that defeat. So that was another reason why it felt so serious. Oiwa has, again, ended up doing much better in this tournament than I expected. We'll get to it in the next one, but he's one of the 4 people still in contention going into the last night. So, yeah, huge win for Oiwa here. And I did enjoy this match, but, the first 3 matches are always a lot shorter than the semi-main and main, so they can only be so good. Well, I don't really believe that, but, they're not going to work anything too crazy either. Then we had Takeshita versus Shingo Takagi, that old feud that Cooper saw at Wrestle Kingdom that got upstaged by the Ishii match the night after.
Yes, the perfectly crumulent Wrestle Kingdom match.
It was just fine. I think this one was not just fine. I think this one was teetering on, like, annoyingly, basic. But I guess it only feels that way because they had the match before when it was just okay. I was hoping that they would do something more with it. For some reason, I saw a lot of people really into this one, but it might be people who haven't seen the match 2 times already, like I have.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Because to me, I was just like, hey, I've seen this one before. And it was like, part of it was that I was really excited for the Oleg Tsuji match.
Shingo's being uncooperative. I guess that's that fighting spirit. That
right. Exactly. Yeah, and it ended, I can hardly recall this one. I think I was just really excited for the main event to start. It did actually end with Takagi getting sort of the upset victory over him and being one of 2 people to beat Takeshita in the tournament thus far. Logan, do you have anything more to say about this one since I have such little to say about it?
I didn't watch this match. I watched the.
Did you watch it?
I watched the Nada match and then I watched the main, but I haven't been following the Big Baby's run so far. I know he's sitting.
It's been mostly very good.
Yeah, I'm the same way where I saw this match and I'm like, I've seen this match many times. Unless I see people raving about
that's
it,
exactly
I'm not
how
going to
it
go
felt.
for it, So.
That's exactly how it felt, yeah. But we should move ahead on to the main event. Another really, really amazing Tsuji main event here. They built this one up well. It was him versus Oleg Boltin. Who, again, we talked about last week, has been sort of portrayed as the big monster to beat in this tournament. Probably the one who's undergone the most of a character change during the tournament. And a lot of times in the G1, you'll have matches where it's like, it feels like 2 wrestlers aren't going to make it. They aren't going to make it to the playoffs, but they're kind of on a collision course with each other. Like I remember like a Okada versus Jonah sort of thing, or Okada versus Jeff Cobb years before that, where it feels like they're just barreling towards each other, these 2 different dominant forces in the tournament. And it felt kind of like that was what was happening here with the Tsuji versus Oleg match. The crowd was very hot for it. It felt like this was sort of an important point in the tournament where Tsuji had dropped a few matches more than he'd like to, and then he had that grueling battle with Yuto Ice, and then he had that awful match with Oiwa right after, where Oiwa just worked the shit out of his arm after he had the match with Yuto. And all that led into him having to face, the scariest dude I've ever seen. It was great. I really, really liked the story they told here, because what was happening was that Tsuji went into the match wary of Oleg, but then it felt like he sort of got the upper hand halfway through, And then he got confident again. He started playing with his food a little bit. He started doing stuff he doesn't normally do, like he did a giant swing at one point, just kind of for fun to pop the crowd. He did this crazy spot later on. This doesn't quite fit with what I'm talking about, but he did a spear to the outside when they were just sort of doing a strike exchange on the apron, and that was crazy. Oleg landed flat on his fucking back there, but eventually, once Suji had gotten comfortable again at the top, Oleg was able to take control once again. It was like Suji underestimated how much he had actually worn the monster down. And he hits the game changer is when he hits a big belly to belly, like a proper belly to belly, not the like launching one that Angle would do. And then he just starts wailing on him with slams and suplexes. Suji, it goes into a reversal dance situation near the end. Oleg's able to get him in the verdict. Then he goes for kamikaze, but Suji does the standard kamikaze block where Oleg backs himself all the way back into the corner, and then they sort of try and grab the ropes so that he can't do the running start. But instead of just giving up or trying to yank him away like Oleg normally does, he takes it a step further and starts climbing the ropes. And then he does, if you can believe it, kamikaze from the middle rope, which does get him the 1-2-3, and he became the third person to beat the heavyweight champion in this tournament, getting a very big win in front of a raucous Korakuen Hall. And then cut a very nice promo after too, where the crowd is super behind him. I think Oleg is definitely going to come out of this tournament the guy who has gained the most. It feels like he's really taken that last step to being like a main event guy. And this match proves it. I mean, it probably will lock in him as one of the title challengers in the fall, if not him winning the whole damn thing, which at this point I'm kind of starting to wonder, do they have the balls to, do that? But either way, I think he has a title program coming up, and I'm very excited for it. If it's as good as this match, we've got something really, really fun to look forward to.
Yeah, this is one of the few that I did watch from this week because I saw the clip of him. I hate to use the word aura, but he literally out-aura'd Suji from hitting him with a spear. He out-meated him, bro. It was...
Mm-hmm. Oh, that I did not mention that spot. Yeah,
Suji...
there was a great moment, Cooper, if you haven't seen it, where Suji does the running start for the Gene Blaster, and then Oleg just does a big old Hulk scream when he's standing up and yells at him, and Suji stops his tracks. He's like, wait.
Yes. Someone said his meat out-aura'd him or something like that. No, I completely agree with you. I think that was my biggest surprise from this tournament. I've always loved Oleg's work, but I never felt like New Japan was fully behind him. I felt like maybe one day it'd be interesting to see, but now I wouldn't be shocked if he just gets the global title. Here's the thing, I don't see him winning the G1 because I don't think New Japan's that bold. But what I do see...
Yeah, I agree. I'm just only saying that because of what, it feels like who the hell is going to win it?
Well, I feel like someone's either going to beat him in the finals or the semis. He's making it out, and he's either going to, get to the finals and it's going to be this triumphant, you beat the beast kind of thing, or kind of the same thing in the semis, Suji would get his win back and lose the finals or something like that. But if he doesn't win the global, their second highest championship, before by Wrestle Kingdom, then what are we doing kind of thing. He should be a champ within the next year. I think he can genuinely carry the company for a while as champion. I think you can build around him as this we've said with Suji being this kind of the Okada figure, but it's the first time they've had a true monster that feels like he's not going to leave, I don't think he is.
Yeah, he does feel very unique in his position right now.
Almost it's like a baby face. It's the first time since maybe Bob Sapp. But they didn't even...
I don't know if that's quite true.
Cooper didn't even change his face for that mention. He's so
It reminds
locked
me
out.
kind of very different wrestler because Oleg is such like a gentle giant type, even though he's gotten scarier. But as a main eventer, I could see him very much taking like a Minoru Suzuki role in the 2010s, where he was kind of like, that challenger, where it's like you really want to put them up against some scary fucker.
Yeah, I thought.
You know what I mean? Maybe even branching off to being sort of the star of his own unit someday, because I feel like Hantai is so top heavy.
Yeah,
And if anyone of him, Yuya, or Shota was to leave, I feel like he'd probably be the first to go off and do something else.
how do you feel about Suji almost killing himself trying to do a kamikaze, bro?
That was really funny, and it was a funny botch, but I almost feel like it was a botch that like worked for the match and
for
the
sure.
story. Because I was like, yeah, of course he wouldn't be able to hit that. That's something only a absolute
Freak. Yeah.
freaky cosmic man could do. Yeah. But it was funny because he just sort of like fell right back down.
This honestly might be my match of the tournament.
It was really good. I wouldn't say that that's crazy at all. And like I said, I think they built to it really well. It was a great match. It also had a great atmosphere. Korakuen was into it. It just came like right at the right time where we were starting to, wind down, and it felt like such a huge win for bars. Yeah, I mean it was fantastic. What's not fantastic is pretty much everything going on in B Block. So we'll go through it real quick. We had first match on their show in Yamagato Arena, the B Block show. It was Drilla Maloney versus Zack Sabre Jr. Once again, this one annoyed me because I feel like Drilla, I think I talked about this with the Yuya match, I feel like he has no identity of his own. He's kind of like a mimic, and he'll just do whatever the fuck else the other guy in the match is doing. He tried once again to sort of do grappling, British style with Zack, and it's just more, sorry. It's more annoying than the alternative where he actually tried to be like just a big powerhouse foreigner all the time. This was the first match of the night, and I had just woken up early and was tired, and the content of it didn't help, so I don't remember it that much. It's telling me on New Japan, results page that this one went 18 minutes, 30 seconds, and I know that is entirely too fucking long. So Zack did get the win to stay alive for a little bit longer after his losing streak at the beginning, and it says that he won with some kind of a leverage pin or something during like a roll-up exchange, and that sounds about right. But again, I don't remember that much from this one. Yuya Uemura versus Hanare was after that, and this one was just okay. It wasn't defensively bad, but it was a G1 mid-card match, They didn't do anything that interesting with the pacing or spots you hadn't seen before. They kind of just hit their moves, took it a little easy. There was one fun spot I remember well where Yuya was trying to do his thing that he does to soften him up for the deadbolt, but where he goes for the headbutt, but of course Hanare has the hard-ass Islander skull, which is still vaguely racist in 2026, but it is a staple. So
he seems to be fully throwing himself into it, though.
Yeah, no, he loves it. Yeah. So yeah, then he sort of knocks Yuya out when Yuya attempts to headbutt him, which is again dicey but kind of funny. It ends up with Yuya hitting a pretty clean high fly flow and then going back up for the crossbody and getting the 1-2-3 to take another 2 points and catch up to the leaders in A block. This is one I liked. There was the Aaron Wolf versus Rin Narita 3 match, which, funnily enough, was probably my favorite match of this night. I don't know why they couldn't have had a match this good when it was actually for the title. And I know I came into this shitting on Narita like a son of a bitch, but maybe sometimes he's still all right. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he needs to get different gear at least and not be the leader. But he can lock in when he needs to. I liked this because of the story, like that they had this backstory already, and it feels like every match, like with Wolf, is a let to get to know Aaron Wolf a little bit better match, and I like that. Like a check in on how he's doing, how the progress is being made. And this one was good. It was very he was very. There was a funny spot right at the beginning. Like this was a pretty evil core House of Torture match. It was very cartoonish, but I think it was like that in the good way and not in the annoying way, because right at the beginning, Aaron Wolf is coming out with his young lion, second Tatsuya Matsumoto, and while Aaron Wolf is walking to the ring, Dick Togo sneaks up behind Matsumoto and pulls him back behind the curtain, and then starts walking, like tiptoeing behind Aaron Wolf like he's his second. And then when they get up to the ring, Aaron Wolf turns around to like fist bump Matsumoto, but Dick Togo's there and he starts beating down on him before the match. That's one of my favorite House of Torture moments I've seen in a while. That one really got me. And then it turns into, again, kind of a very clown car House of Torture match. Togo and Kanemaru out there for pretty much the whole thing, old Whiskey Dick. But it was also very, grappling heavy. Narita was trying to work his leg the entire time with the knee, setting up the knee bar, and also when he'll like sort of kick the knee out of them to get him into the guillotine, you know how he does. Kick his leg out of his leg. Wolf was fighting back with everything he had. He was on the underneath pretty much the entire match, but he'd have little bursts of fire, get a hold, get that big power slam, get that landslide. It sadly ended up not going his way, though. The interference became too much, and Narita was able to lock on the knee bar. And yeah. Oh, they did one thing. Another thing I'll just shout out real quick. I thought was cool. I hope Narita keeps doing it. They at one point while the ref was down, they Hogo ran in to do like the magic killer with Narita, like Evil used to do, but instead Narita did the X Factor, the sold out, while Aaron Wolf's legs were like still on Dick Togo's shoulder, so it was like a no protection at all X Factor. That was like the only time I've ever seen the X Factor look good ever. So I hope he keeps on doing that. It looked kind of sick. Another 2 points for Narita, who ends up actually, I think, tying to lead the blog by the end of this night. Then we had Oscar versus Callum Newman. I don't know why this main evented. The main events, like, some nights you can tell that they just had nothing except for the Shota match. Because in this one, who is he going to be facing? He was going to be facing... Oh, this was when he was going to be facing Gabe in the main event. So yeah, it makes sense that Oscar versus Newman is such a lackluster main event. That was going to be very much like a one-match show. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember much about this one, to be honest, and I feel bad about it. But it was just not much. I think I'm starting to realize that Newman is pretty limited, and that I just like the rush of like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? And I don't think he's terrible either, but I do think he still shows his age a lot, and can't really hold like the fort down in a main event like this, with a guy like Oscar, who is also still very young and inexperienced. So yeah, I mean, Newman gets the win after, he fucking hits all his moves and wins, but I don't remember really anything. I think it was mostly like another, just like Oscar's always trying to lock in the sleeper, and then there's this stuff in between, and then, he'll lock it on again. It's just like a chopping down the giant sort of match. So yeah, it was fine. Up next, we had another A block in Gunma, the second to last night, starting off with Konosuke Takeshita versus Seiya Sanada. Sanada actually, despite returning to his cheating ways in a tough position in the Yuto Ice match, it doesn't seem like he's, like, that was to mean that the reinvention arc is totally over, because he's right back to not having any of the interference in this match. It was another straightforward one, just like their TV title match. It was kind of another one. I don't want to waste time, because again, we started later than normal and are already a good bit into this. But this is another one that was kind of beat for beat the same as the TV title match, which was good. And I like their exchanges, actually. I like them a lot better than the Takagi match. I think Sonata being more of a high flyer. I think Takeshita always works well with those guys, because there's fun reversal stuff that you can set up out of that. And there was good stuff, like where Sonata did his flip trying to get the skull end locked in, but he missed, and then Takeshita was able to do that bastard driver into the wheelbarrow right after that. That was a cool reversal bit. It does end with Takeshita just getting a pretty clean another 2 points with Raging Fire, to still be one set of 2 points ahead of everyone else in the tournament. And then we had Yota Tsuji versus the Great Okan. And yeah, this was really bad. And it felt like Okan was really not trying, which sucks, because again, I said last week and have said consistently, it feels like everyone's been stepping up to, take advantage of the match with Tsuji, take advantage of having the eyes on them fighting the champion, and Tsuji's just willingness to give his all every night, like really have a great match with guys who are willing to have a great match. And it is obvious that Okan is just not anymore for some reason. He was trying to do the chair gimmick like for pretty much the entire thing, and wouldn't back away from it. It was just a bunch of the same spots we'd seen before. It was, low blows and cartoonishness, and Tsuji wasn't really able to ever get the crowd going. And in the end, he doesn't even win with the fucking new finisher. Tsuji just wins with a regular Gene Blaster, the first one of the match in 1, 2, 3, the most disrespectful victory he's had over anyone in the tournament. And then the interesting thing I wanted to talk about before was that, who knows in Japanese wrestling how much is a work and how much is a shoot all the time. But I do think there's something there that Tsuji went to backstage comments after and looked very genuinely upset, and his promo that he cut was pretty much all about like, Okan, what are you doing? You have to step up. You can't just, like wrestle like he was like, do you care about wrestling, or do you only care about, your convention appearances and your anime expos and all these things? And he was like, I get spreading the word out, but it feels like you've completely lost your passion for pro wrestling. And I do think there was something more to that. If you'll go and watch it for yourself, I think you'd be able to tell too that it's more to that than him just calling out a hypocritical heel. It felt like on some level, like Tsuji always is kind of a straight shooter, was saying like, hey, what's the deal here? Like a lot of people have been feeling. And it kicked off a little bit of a minor discourse on, New Japan fandom on Twitter and the like, about Okan, and about how they really did have high hopes for him at the beginning, in a similar way that they've had high hopes for guys like Oleg and Wolf. He was very much, they wanted him to succeed because he was a serious martial artist that went to the dojo, and then they had him do that big run in Rev Pro to gear up for the return. And then when he returned, he was, Ospreay's second in command and feuded with guys like Tanahashi and Okada and Naito. But somewhere along the line, he clearly has decided that he is just not one to try all that hard. And, as far as we can tell, just based off hearsay and what wrestlers themselves will post on their social media, it doesn't seem like he has anyone that he's particularly close with in New Japan. It seems like he's kind of this weird pariah He was apparently very tight with the Bushiroad execs, like the one guy there that was guys like Kid and guys like Tsuji have sort of made fun of it. And so now, like, his one, meal ticket, him being friends with this guy Kadani is gone now. So I don't know. I don't know what happens to Great Okan. He's had this awful record in the tournament. He's now had the champion and most influential, probably, single wrestler in the company that's still active, decry him publicly and say that he needs to lock in. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if something changes. I don't think they'll ever fire a dojo guy like that, but I do think there's a chance that he is definitely like cycled down to the point he might not even make the G1 next year, which is crazy for such a young wrestler. But yeah, I mean, do y'all have anything to say about that little topic or what?
All right.
I straight up forgot who we were talking about.
Okan. The Great Okan.
Oh, shit.
The Uniter of the Fiefdoms.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Please Fab. He's still tag champ. What's funny
sure
is
he's
a champ.
right?
He's
Well,
champ.
that hasn't stopped anybody
He's
from
tag
leaving
champ
before.
and never open weight champ right now.
He's the
Never
never
or
champ?
trios. With Ospreay.
He was the
Oh, okay.
never six man and the tag team champ right now.
Yeah.
This
Look, I feel like I've been protective of Okan a lot more than most people. And I was like, he's not the bad option, but he has been the worst wrestler in this tournament. Maybe outside of Callum Newman. But, which that's just my personal gripes against Newman. But, yeah, it is rough anytime he has a match. I'm like, he just seems dejected. He needs to go either find his spark or something needs to change, man. Go be like he could be a celebrity. He's got the aura for it. I don't know what he's gonna do, but maybe.
I mean, yeah.
Be a Twitch streamer like Taichi or something like that, So I don't have anything positive or negative. I'm just bummed out. Tsuji's right.
Yeah, that's you can't argue against it. I guess let's move on then. Up next we had Hiroki Goto versus Oleg Boltin. This was another one actually that I thought wasn't all that great, even though I expected great things from it. I think Oleg kind of needed a breather night after the big Tsuji match, which is fair because they kind of just went through the motions here. And Goto was eliminated already, so it wasn't like they were fighting to stay alive. He could play spoiler though, and he did end up. He kind of got a sneaky win over him by avoiding the big power moves the whole night while getting in his neck work when he could, and finally finding his moment to hit GTR, and then he did. So he got the win there over Oleg. Knocking Oleg into an uncomfortable position going into the final night. And then we had Shingo Takagi versus Yuto Ice, which was actually a lot better than I expected it to be because, again, I'm not always the world's biggest Shingo fan, but I thought this was a very good, a very good sort of never style match. One of the better ones of the G1 this year, and I really like the story they were telling. They were talking on commentary about how even though Unbound Company has formed out of the ashes of the War Dogs and LIJ, it feels like not all of them always get along, and Takagi specifically has said that he doesn't really respect Yuto Ice, but he'll team with him because it's what, Tsuji wants, and they don't have to like everyone just to work with each other. But this match was very much about Yuto trying to gain the respect of Shingo, taking all his best strikes, hitting hard back, big bombs, superplexes, and emotion, like Yuto's really good at drawing out of you. Ended with Yuto, them getting into a, sweet, really long strike exchange. Yuto hits one of the sickest vertical drop brainbusters I've seen in a while. It was honestly really fucking scary. And then he is able to hit the Cruella and killer knee strike to get the victory there in about 20 minutes. Ends up not really being alive on the final night except for some weird scenarios, but he ends up with a winning record, so pretty good for a first timer. Or I guess I can't say that yet. There's one more match, but he has had a pretty good run. Logan, did you watch that main event or no?
I haven't watched, I don't think, anything past the main from the other night. I haven't watched either of these nights.
Okay. Well, let's go on ahead and just finish it off then with this night that just happened
Today!
yesterday in a new city, in a new arena I don't think they've been to before, in a Mie, I guess you'd say. It's M-I-E, Mie, in the Nisho Highway Arena. They drew a pretty good crowd for an arena they've never been to before, though. It was 2,310 people in attendance. We had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hanare, which was not that bad, actually. I thought it was one of the better Hanare matches of the tournament. I thought Zack was able to sort of pull a pretty good one out of this when he wasn't able to with Drilla. I think, again, what I like that Hanare, love him or hate him, for better or for worse, he has an identity and he has his own style. And he sticks to it, and I think that's a good quality. So the Clash of Styles here was very fun. Zack was fighting with all his, might, because he is still just right there on the bubble. Hanare was reversing, the submissions into big power moves. He was not letting him work the arm as much as he could, but Zack was on the upper hand. He was able to lock in a Cobra twist at a pivotal moment of the match, and the crowd went crazy, which I think is fun because they were talking about how, again, this is kind of a new city for them, and they probably haven't seen New Japan Pro Wrestling in a really, really long time, and the older people would remember like Inoki more vividly, which is cool that Zack was thinking of something like that. It ended up with Zack getting him in a kind of the Aaron Wolf triangle a little bit and getting a referee stoppage there, so that was fun. Zack takes another 2 points, is still just by the skin of his teeth, possibly in the playoffs. A funny thing happened after this match where Hanare went to Twitter and he was like, he posted about his match with Zack, and he's like, one of the few wrestlers on the roster who feels mana like me, some shit Hanare would say. But then he quote tweeted it immediately after, and he said, "Wait, am I fucking eliminated?" That was funny. You didn't even realize until after people started telling
You gotta
him.
give it to him,
Yeah, he's a funny guy sometimes. Then we had Drilla Maloney. Geez, after I do these for a long time, I can't speak anymore because it's just me and me and me, and my mouth gets all dry.
That's how I am, bro.
Yeah, I need more water. I need a water. I'll go get one right after this. So we got Drilla Maloney versus Rin Narita. I've been kind of tuned out of B Block, even though I've been watching them. Unlike some people in this room, I have not always been the most focused. This was kind of just a shenanigans match. Again, Dick and Kanemaru were clowning around. Maloney was trying to fight them off. There was low bros, there was the leg work, all the hallmarks of the Narita stuff, but it ends with a pretty simple House of Torture finish where Togo tries to throw the powder in the eyes of Maloney. Maloney ducks and they hit Narita, and he's able to transition that into hitting Drilla Killa and getting the victory there. Then we had Aaron Wolf versus Callum Newman. A very funny clash of styles. I texted Cooper about this before because what ended up happening here was that...
Terrorism?
Yeah.
Terrorism incarnate?
Kind of, in that Aaron Wolf both proved that he can do the more modern, spot fest style of match and not look out of place. But then the question is, why would you want him, to do that? ever.
I disagree that he doesn't look out of place doing it.
Really? Did you go and look it up after I said that?
I saw the thing that you said. Yeah,
The Canadians are. Yeah. Well, the rest of the match was still leaned that way. But yeah. Anyways, it.
I'm sure that's right. I repeat what I say, or what I said in the group chat. This is all Callum's fault. He's corrupting him. Stay away from him. Get a job. You fucking.
No, that's
leave
fair.
my boy alone.
I
please.
thought it was very funny to me. See, I was like, that cannot be what he's about to do, and then he did it, and I was like, oh man, 2026
He's just a boy.
wrestling.
He doesn't know any better. He's gonna do what you tell him.
But he does defeat the Great Evil in the end after all that with the head and arm triangle. He gets a definitive victory over the youngest ever IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And takes another 2 points. So good for Wolf. Up next, I can't remember. We'll get into it in just a second what the final stuff looks like. Yuya Uemura versus Gabe Kidd was the main event here, and since they'd kind of set it up to where Gabe Kidd was just talking shit, about the Japanese wrestlers the entire tournament, and then it was going to end with back-to-back-to-back Japanese wrestlers. He was going to face Shota in Yamagata Arena, then face Yuya here, and then face Narita on the last night. But since Shota got injured, it ended up all sort of coming down to Yuya here. And this was great. It's probably my favorite Gabe Kidd match of the tournament, except for maybe his match with Aaron Wolf. The story here was that Yuya was like not about that shit, trying to let Gabe get in his head. He was not about to brawl on the outside. He was not about to, get into these worthless strike exchanges. He was just not having any of it. And it was fun to see a babyface, who's actually like smart and knows better. I was really enjoying it. Like, it was kind of, very tense for such little happening. Gabe went out to the ring like right at the beginning, and Uemura just stood his ground, standing there in like a sort of sumo squat. And I was like, please don't go outside, man. Like, hold your ground, hold your ground. It was like a battle of, like ideals there. It was really pretty cool. And Gabe kept on trying to like bait him. He would like go in, and he would then he would go right back out to restart the count, and he would like be messing with the fans. But eventually, so rarely seen, he actually did concede, and he went and he started the match with Yuya on the sort of grappling terms. It was very, very cool. After a few minutes of that, though, Gabe does get the upper hand, and he throws him out himself. But even that doesn't last long, the crowd brawl. They get back into the ring quickly, because as soon as Yuya takes control again, he runs back in, and he's like, no, we're doing this in the ring. It was very cool, and it worked perfectly for sort of the storyline of both these guys so far, where Yuya is trying to prove that like he can beat Gabe just as this pure symbol of Japanese wrestling when Gabe's been berating him, and also always has this bone to pick, like he wants to win his way. That's just classic Yuya just in general. Yeah, and they go on to have a very intense, battle that I think brought on all the tension from Gabe's entire run, and all the boos and all the excitement, where Gabe is just really trying to beat down on him. Like, he does the grappling at the beginning, but then he stops. He's just trying to strike him down, with chops and with big forearms and strikes, and he splits Yuya's chest actually open and gets some blood there from how hard one of the chops is. It's very hard hitting, but Yuya isn't having any of it. He's not reverting to that. He's taking what he can, reversing into the arm drags when he can, hitting ducking under some strikes and hitting the dragon suplex and shit like that. And I don't know if they even go out to the ring again after that initial throw where Gabe's just trying, like, haha, I got you too. But they go back in again quickly and do the rest in the ring there. In the end, Yuya is able to get a very a very like kind of the perfect victory for him, where after withstanding like this whole onslaught and not falling down, I mean, there's a very good like sort of Tanahashi in that G1 final esque moment where he's just not backing down at all from being slapped over and over and over again, just sort of walking towards him, and his mouth is all bloody, his chest is bloody, but he's not giving up, and he traps the arm, tries to get the deadbolt. He isn't able to, but it goes into a very like a quick series of them trying to grapple once again, get pins over each other, and then Yuya is able to, after just a normal, I think, crossbody, not even the top rope one. It's a very quick moment where he gets on top of Gabe and he has the pin, and then he hooks his outside leg with Yuya's own leg and gets him quickly into almost like a small package, a cradle, and gets the 3 count with just the leverage pin, which was exactly how Yuya wanted to win there, without succumbing to the emotion too much and keeping that level-headedness of him. He beat Gabe in the most embarrassing way possible. And Gabe, walked away looking the most dejected that he had in a very long time. Like he was really like rethinking his whole life up to that point. Like he wanted to throw the title around like normal, but he couldn't really bring himself to do it. He just sort of let go of it and dropped on the floor and then walked to the back. He couldn't even gloat or be like, "Oh, I don't give a fuck, you're still shit. Suck your mom," kind of thing. He wasn't able to. It was really such a great story told, and these guys actually haven't faced each other at all since their returns from Excursion, so that was cool, seeing 2 young guys who you'd think would work great together, who just had by happenstance missed each other all this time, and of course they did. So yeah, that's the end of the block matches. I'll quickly run through what we have of the next few nights. So we've got coming up on in Hamamatsu, Act City Hamamatsu, G1 Climax. Shit. So up next in Hamamatsu, we've got G1 Climax night. Fuck, what night is it? I'm sorry, bad audio. Night 15, where we go with, they haven't announced a card order yet, but the matches are going to be Shingo versus Sonata, Goto versus Yuto Ice, Tsuji versus Jake Lee, Oleg versus the Great Okan, and Takeshita versus Ryohei Oiwa. And then in Korakuen Hall, for B Block Finals, we've got Yuya Uemura versus Oscar, Callum Newman versus Hinare, Gabe Shid versus Rin Narita, and
wow.
No,
How fickle.
I was gonna ask how you're feeling about Gabe's run, because a lot of people on Twitter are crapping all over him.
No, I think it's a clever name. I think Gabe's been just fine. Not always amazing, but there have been so many worse than him, and I think his highs have been probably as high as anyone in B Block besides Uemura and like maybe Wolf. But he's been like very exciting to watch, with an interesting story all the way through. I think honestly, and I'm normally not like this, Logan. Normally, I swear to God, I don't play this card. But I think Gabe Kidd in New Japan in 2026 is an example of people like actually genuinely being worked by it.
That's awesome.
Like evil sort of thing. I think they're actually overthinking it and getting worked by the whole thing that he's doing. So yeah, Gabe Kidd is on some galaxy brain shit with it. That's what I'll say.
That's fair.
Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I've enjoyed his run. I mean, there's been some bad stuff, but I mean, you gotta look at who he has to work with, bro. Like, if he was working Bolton...
Right, he's had a bad... If he was in there in A Block, he would be one of the top guys here, too.
Yeah, if he was with Bolton and Tsuji and Takeshita, it's like, yeah, bro, he has to work, Rin Narita and Callum Newman, And like I just don't think him and Sabre really click. But other than that, I mean, like he had a great match with.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they never
He had a great
yeah.
match with Wolf. He would have had a great match with Shota, which he already did have a great match with him before.
He already did.
I thought the Drilla match was good, and I thought that, you know, from what I could see, the Yuta match looks good. So
You should go and
I
watch
was going
it. I think
to.
that's when you'd really enjoy it.
I was going to, but I decided to cook dinner really quick since Cooper. We went a little bit later. I was like, I'll just cook dinner beforehand. All right. So continue.
Okay. So very quickly, now we've run through that, the advancement scenarios for these final two nights. The people still in contention in A block are Konosuke Takeshita, Yota Tsuji, Ryohei Oiwa, and Bolton Oleg, unless there is some crazy tie situation. For Takeshita to advance, he needs to win or draw with Oiwa, or lose and then have Jake Lee beat Tsuji. If Tsuji wins, Takeshita must win his match with Oiwa. And Bolton versus Okan doesn't matter really at all to Takeshita. For Oiwa to advance, he needs to beat Takeshita in the main event to get the first. But if Jake Lee can spoil Tsuji and Okan can spoil Bolton, then it doesn't matter. He can lose the match, and it'll still be Takeshita is A1 and Oiwa is A2, no matter what. Then, if Bolton needs to advance, he has to beat Okan and have Takeshita beat Oiwa. Even if Tsuji wins his match, Bolton would still take second because he beat Tsuji. The only other path... Yeah, so that's right. For Tsuji to advance, he can't be tied with only Bolton. He needs to beat Jake Lee and either hope that Bolton loses, or if Bolton wins, he needs someone in the main event to win the match, no draws. Tsuji can also advance. Yeah, again, sorry, I already said that. With he can win if Oleg loses. Then there is a weird four-way tie that probably won't happen, but I'll go over it anyways. In the event of Oiwa, Oleg, and Tsuji all winning, they will have all the top four tied in kind of an unbreakable deadlock way. And then, even crazier, there's a five-way tie that's possible if Shingo Takagi and Yuto Ice beat Sanada and Hiroki Goto, followed by Takeshita and the United Empire guys winning their matches against Tsuji and Oleg. Then Oiwa, Oleg, and Shingo and Yuto and Takagi would all be in tied for second place underneath Takeshita at 10 points in an unbreakable fashion, which would be very funny. And I always hope that they do some bullshit like that.
Yeah, how would they even... Like, what would they do in that scenario?
I don't know. One year, when they did the last 4-block G1, there was a scenario that it came very close to happening where Shingo and Hamatanga would have been in an unbreakable tie for I think it was like the C2 spot. And they actually announced on commentary before the Takagi versus Evil main event, they were like, if Takagi wins this match, we're just going to do an impromptu singles match between these guys. Crazy. But I have no idea. He ended up not winning, Evil won. But I have no idea what the fuck would happen if, like, it was a 5-way crazy tie like that. Like, would they do an impromptu 5-way or something? The answer is probably that nothing, because it'll never happen.
That will never happen.
It could.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if it was an impromptu 5-way, that New Japan would never do that in a million years, ever. That's never gonna happen, ever.
No, that'd be so cool.
We barely had 3-ways, brother. The first 5 ways could be the G1, but it would be kind of beast to watch because it'd be, you know.
Yeah. If you want that kind of innovative booking, you need to go over to Zen.
Yeah.
for the Champion Carnival.
True.
B block advancement scenarios. Rin Narita can advance if he wins his main event against Gabe Kidd, or semi-main, sorry. And that's, If he loses, then there's no way for him to get in. Callum Newman will advance if he wins his match. If they both win, Callum will be second place underneath Ren Narita. If Gabe wins his match against Ren Narita, then Callum will be first, and it'll be Callum or B1 and Gabe B2. Yuya Uemura can win or advance. If he wins his match against Oscar, he will take first place if Gabe and Hanari win their matches. But if either of them lose, he will be second underneath, presumably, Callum Newman or something. And Gabe Kidd can advance. That's a little bit more complicated. He has to win his match against Narita, but with the tiebreaker losses to Yuya and Callum, it's impossible for him to advance if both of them win their matches. So he needs either Yuya or Callum to drop one and also to win his match against Narita. Then there are a few people that cannot possibly be B1 but could get second place. Hanare could advance if there's a weird big 10-point pile-up because for some reason he will have beaten loads of people in the deadlock, and it wouldn't be a deadlock tie in B block because Hanare has pretty much beaten everyone that is still in contention, which is a weird situation for him, but he got all those early wins against big guys. And if Aaron Wolf to get in, which is still apparently possible, he could win along with Oscar beating Uemura, Gay beating Narita, and Hanare beating Newman, which would be a big, weird tiebreaker, which would give him some... I don't know. This shit gets confusing when it gets into the weird ones. So... I think this, they just wanted to throw in saying Aaron Wolf's name because he's a guy they like, but I think this is actually another possibility for some fucking ridiculous 7-way tie that's never going to happen.
It's a possibility because it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Wolf's going to make it through. So he could tie with a bunch of people in some crazy deadlock shit. So yeah, that's it. I feel like Charlie Day and the Pepe Sylvia scene right now. So while I'm resting my weary brain, you guys can start to talk about the stuff happening in the United States of America.
Well, I'm going to state this. We win the blocks if the 4 that make it out are Bolton, Takeshita, Gabe, and Yuya. If Newman makes it out, we end it all. But yeah.
It's going to be...
We as a podcast, the podcast ends. That's how it works. Then you know this.
I think Cooper is rooting for Newman in some weird like chaos gremlin way.
The self-destruct sequence of the Strongest Style podcast starts when Callum Newman makes it out of the blocks this year.
I have him in my finals, brother.
He's got to stick to I forgot to do the pick'em, so it's just between you and Jack for personal gripes.
I know.
We remember.
Yeah. But yeah, go to North America, but specifically, we're gonna start in the country of Mexico.
That's right. Yeah. Fuck the United States.
Slam.
3-hour special Dynamite Grand Slam Mexico in Arena Mexico. Cooper, why don't you sound us off here?
Oh, I would love to tell you all about this edition of Grand Slam where pro wrestling lives in the arena. Yeah, goddamn, what a
great
show. Great show. Basically a fucking free pay-per-view. So I cannot be mad at that at all. And in particular, I cannot be mad because it was at least 3 hours shorter than most AEW pay-per-views. For all the people complaining about how long this show was, it can always be more. So, but yeah, AEW has a really interesting relationship with Arena Mexico and the Mexican fans over there. because like, you know, the impression that you would get, at least from like, I don't know, certain largely Twitter-based lucha libre web logs, I'll just say, is that, you know, the AEW CMLL relationship is a little one-sided, and I am willing to concede that might be true. However, what you end up finding out when you watch the CMLL shows, either that AEW stars appear on, or the AEW shows that they put on in Arena Mexico for Grand Slam these past 2 years, is that the Mexican fans are on fucking fire for AEW. Like, it is, I think it is a real, genuine fandom that, like, you know, transcends whatever, like, intra-company political squabbling might be happening, either behind the scenes or from, you know, American-based fans commentating on, you know, those developments. But, you know, like, I don't think anybody here was, like, you know, upset about fucking Hechicero being, you know, the job guy on last week's, you know, Dynamite tag. Like, you know, I just don't think that that's really the mentality here for these fans that packed in the Arena Mexico. But yeah, we started it off with I thought really fun tag match. The Death Riders team of the Continental Champion Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, and Pac going up against the kind of you know, can they coexist team of the AEW Tag Team Champions Cope and Cage and the Young Bucks. Now, this is notable for a couple of things. One, it is Adam Copeland's first ever time, just generally, I think, in a wrestling or non-wrestling capacity in Arena Mexico. And man, it was really cool to see. The fans sung along to Metalingus just the same as they do everywhere else that he goes. And you could really see, like, you know, him getting a huge kind of surge of energy from that. It was just wild to see. Also notable from this is that Arena Mexico fucking loves Jon Moxley. Mox's entrance, he was, you know, Death Riders did the same, come out through the crowd thing, and like, he takes a second, you can see on his face when he, like, walks past the like vomitorium, but past a certain point, where, like, I guess the sound finally reaches his ears of how fucking loud they are for him, and, like, you see this look on his face, like, oh shit, and then he turns back around and keeps doing his entrance. But yeah, also a notable little statistic here is that with this match, Christian Cage now becomes one of a hallowed list of people who have competed in Arena Mexico, Madison Square Garden, Wembley Stadium, and the Tokyo Dome. He was also joined in this statistical feat by one Double J Jeff Jarrett, who had a dark match on this show. So, yeah, big history making night for Double J and for Double C Christian Cage. So, but yeah, like I said, you know, this match was pretty fun. In particular, I really liked, you know, the Cage and Cope and Young Bucks stuff in here, and they work pretty well altogether, until things really start falling apart. And at that point, the Death Riders just have such an experience advantage as such a well-oiled machine of a team that, there was really no chance that the Franken team here was going to get it. So, let's see, what does AEW have as the finish here? Yeah, so Matt Jackson drops Yuta, and then Pac sends Cope through the ropes, and then Mox rolls up Cope with a handful of trunks. So, just they kind of escape by the skin of their teeth, but the Death Riders are, just too clever for old Cage and Cope. So, we get a brief little recap thing here with the Kenny Omega Will Ospreay segment, and I think I made all my points pretty clear on that from last week. I am still pretty excited for that All In match. I do wish that Kenny would get over himself and be a real professional wrestler and just be on one of these fucking Mexico shows, please. But for whatever reason, he seems to have some aversion to making the flight down. So, the heat, I think, or the altitude, would be getting to him, and he's shying away from the bright lights of Arena Mexico. Up next, we had a match that I am incredibly conflicted on. This was the triple threat for the number 1 spot in the All-In Casino Gauntlet match. So Andrade El Idolo had already declared his intentions to take that number 1 spot last week on Dynamite, and so this was his chance to prove it. He was in there with the Psycho Killer, Tommaso Ciampa, who I know had announced he was going for the spot too, I think on Collision, but they were joined, I think, I did not remember seeing this one make an announcement for it, but they to round out this triple threat, they had Commander in there, who longtime listeners of Strongest Style will know. I've been very positive on Commander's CMLL exploits as of late, and he has become, I think, very well integrated into the CMLL ecosystem. The fans that come to the Friday shows and even the Monday shows in Arena Puebla that he works sometimes. He is very well known at this point, and is well liked, seemingly. So I thought it was a smart decision from AEW to throw him in the mix here and to give a sort of clear, unambiguous babyface to this, because Andrade, for as much of a mega face as he is, still has these kind of like heel trappings to him. He's got the tear away pants thing, the go out to talk to the lady outside. He's arrogant and he's still tranquilo and all that kind of stuff. But just now he's doing it with kind of a wink and a nod to the fans for it. Commander, though, doesn't have any of that irony to him. He's about as pure of a babyface as you can get. That being said, though, goddamn, Andrade El Idolo was treated like a fucking god coming out here. Maybe the biggest entrance reaction aside from, Cope's song deal, but just like the sustained pop of it, both when the Tron comes on, and then he turns around to make the entrance. It was a real. He had a brief little trip back into CMLL towards the very tail end of his first AEW run. He had some matches that I thought were pretty good over there, and people were excited to see fucking La Sombra back in Mexico, something that nobody thought would really happen. But this time it feels so different, and it feels so much more like real and tangible because he's not going right back to WWE, and also he has I suppose fortunately to some become extremely over in America, like I will say though, even as much as I have not have very vocally not dug the character turn that Andrade has taken recently, I can't deny that getting a reaction like this in Mexico, it was a big moment for him, and it was the most natural that he has seemed to me in a babyface role. I think that's largely due to the Mexican crowd. I just don't see him. He gets big reactions in America, obviously, but it just feels different, and it feels less real. It feels less earned to me, in America, because he's relying so much on, the cheap catchphrase shit that I hate, and I just don't think that that's real love for a babyface,
Yeah.
It was like kind of almost oddly refreshing to see like him in this. It was like, oh no, like it is real to a degree, but it's because he's cool and good. Like it's not just because he says the line, But don't get me wrong, he does say the line, in his end promo once he inevitably wins this match. Like Christ, you could have seen that coming from 10,000 miles away. Poor Commander, he gets hit with the DM here. I will say also, by the way, I am worried about Ciampa succumbing to this kind of like thought terminating, not necessarily catchphrase stuff, but like just sort of like silly, ridiculous shit that gets over with stupid Americans. Like the, giving Project Ciampa to whatever random inanimate object happens to be in the match. This time, like I know for the Jericho thing, it was that little stuffed mascot thing. In this one, it's Andrade's pants that Ciampa attacks. I have to, at some point, maybe come to terms with the fact that just this is how fucking wrestling is going to be. But that's like, it doesn't have, no, like, you can, even if it's just a thing where like he thinks it's fun, I don't care. Like, I think sometimes wrestlers should have less creative freedom because their creative ideas suck. And it's a shame because like I like Ciampa, but I just worry that maybe he like had actual conversations with Chris Jericho, who told him that like he needs to constantly like hammer in these like just silly spots that everybody pops for in each and every one of his matches. And I think like that's the worst possible case scenario for him. But anyways, ramble aside. So Andrade gets this win, and he he starts cutting this promo. He asks, or he says to Arena Mexico that he has one question, and then Yes, cue up the royalty-free. What's his name? Craig McLeod.
M. Dickey music.
Yes, because Maxwell Jacob Friedman is fresh off the set of, was it Violent Night 2 or something?
Yeah,
that the Santa
David
Claus
Harbour and
movie.
Kristen Bell.
Yes. Coming straight from Hollywood on an express flight is Maxwell Jacob Friedman to attack Andrade El Idolo with the Triple B in hand. He finally takes back his Dynamite Diamond Ring, knocks him out onto the floor, busts Andrade open, something fierce, wipes it on his white tank top. And, of course, it wouldn't be a MJF segment without picking up the microphone. He tells the medical personnel to, and I quote, "Get that piece of trash from this piece of shit country," which bold of Max, stones, glass houses, all that, out of the arena. He says that he is an American hero, the best professional wrestler in the world, and he is your champion. And proceeds to hold up the Triple B. He says that what Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay are fighting over is a paper championship, a toy belt, and that the only championship that should be recognized is the Triple B. So he is running the real world's champion gimmick, like father, like son. You can take the man out of Chicago, but you can't take the Chicago out of the man, I suppose. I don't know necessarily how I feel about it. I guess I will wait and see how it plays out. I'm not against it in principle. It fits to me with the kind of delusions that Max consistently has as a character to do this and to make a big thing of this. Like it feels very much in the same realm to me as him rebranding the international champion to the American championship. He wants to make these accolades for himself that don't really exist. And especially coming off of such a confidence-shattering loss to Omega, I think it makes sense for him to kind of, retreat into his own sort of ideas of his own greatness again. I real world's championship gimmicks are tricky because you run the risk of legitimately burying your real world champion. But I feel like if the company makes it clear that Max is being stupid and no, he is not a real world champion. I don't think as much as I loved the Punk Samoa Joe match, having it be 4 Punk's little fake belts that he was carrying around, I think was a negative, because what do you mean AEW sanctioned that? that he has to abide by a title change in this match if he loses. It just makes the whole thing seem silly. So if they do that, I may be less into it. But if they just have him, parade around with it like a little, fake, if they treat it like Mercedes Moné's Owen Hart belt, it's not real. It doesn't mean you get to defend it. I think
the $1 million championship.
Yeah, it's the $1 million. Yeah, right. No, it's not up for grabs, really. But I am actually, I think, quite a big fan of. But Then we get in to the big old triple threat match with, or not triple threat, 6-way tag with the face team of your women's world champion, Willow Nightingale, and her extremely British friends, Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor, the Brawling Birds, going up against the CEO, Mercedes Moné, and your women's tag champions, the Divine Dominion. I thought this match kind of rocked. It was not as good, I think, as the big 6-way tag with Mercedes and the Divine Dominion and Willow and Maya and Hyan from a while ago. That, I think, is genuinely really, really great, like, match of the year level. This was good. But like, I just think that, in particular, I am struggling a little with the Brawling Birds, because so much of their stuff is so big. I mean, they're good wrestlers, and Jamie Hayter's a great wrestler. I don't think that their in-ring clicked with Willow as well as Maya and Hyons did. But regardless, though, they are the cause for the finish here. They do hit 2 birds, 1 stone on somebody. I think Bane. I think it was Megan Bane, maybe. They throw stereo German suplexes on the Divine Dominion. And then Willow snatches up Mercedes for the Babe with the Powerbomb. Mercedes escapes, tries to go for the Moneymaker, but as she does, Willow backslides her and gets the win. And with that win, solidifies the Brawling Birds shot at the women's tag titles at All In. So we are really and truly just giving any even slightly British person a big match on this card. But it'll be fun. It'll be good. I will be right alongside legions of people with the questionable dental hygiene, shouting as Jamie Hayter lariats lean across to hell. So, but yeah, I'm excited for that. Then, gentlemen,
lady. Sorry.
that was a really good timed call to her.
She tried to get under something under the bed. Oh man, sorry. I was trying to be quiet. Yeah, what's up?
Logan.
Cooper.
This match for the AEW International Championship between Kyle Fletcher and Speedball Mike Bailey was a
no way.
Match of the year.
Yay!
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, this was really good. I mean, right off the bat, so much of this is. I want to put the majority of my praise on this on Speedball, although I think, obviously both competitors did a great job. Kyle is a really natural in this role since he's been back. But goddamn, Speedball is so fucking good, man. Like, just gets absolutely ragdolled around. Dude, people have whatever sort of made fun of some people overreacting to the severity of it, but the like lawn dart into the barricade genuinely did look fucking pretty sickening. And part of that, I think, is because it sounded so awful. They are different barricades in Arena Mexico than they are for like AEW's regular like setup, and they're more like solid and sturdy. And when Speedball gets launched into them, they make just the worst like bang kind of clattering sound. So that spot did a lot to kind of, I think, set the tone for what Fletcher and Bailey were going to do with each other. But I mean, the desperation from Speedball was really something to behold, and the kind of like the way that this Arena Mexico crowd just like launched up to their feet on that big Ultimate Weapon comeback from him. I mean, that's stuff that you get only when you are a honest to God like great wrestler. Is when you can get a reaction like that, and I'm glad that Speedball is getting more and more opportunities to show what a great wrestler they are. But yeah, it is unfortunately just not quite time yet, because Fletcher does get Bailey up for another lawn dart into the corner with that big boot. And then hikes him up, brainbuster right on top of the turnbuckle. So it is still Kyle Fletcher who is your international champion. But man, what a stellar performance from Speedball Mike Bailey. And then as Fletcher is celebrating, gentlemen, it's time to wake up because there's a war inside. The Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, he comes out and he looks at Fletcher. Fletcher holds up his international title, and I'm pretty sure you can tell where we are going from there. So I think we will see how it plays out. Then, fellas, sometimes you ask for something, and in the monkey's paw, it likes to curl, and this was one of those instances. I had hoped and prayed and wished for the absolute goat of this shit, El Rey de Plata y Oro Místico, to have a big match on this Grand Slam card, much in the way that he did last time, in the middle of the MJF feud from last year. And I suppose, technically, that is true. However, there are some caveats.
The monkey's paw curls.
Boy, does it. Because your CMLL World Lightweight and World's Trios Champion, ROH World Tag Team Champion, and IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, El Rey de Plata y Oro, Místico, was in a tag team match in which his partners were Darby Allin, which, okay, I'm not super mad at. That's fine. And because he just can't help himself, Corazon de fucking Leon, Chris Jericho, putting on the
AJ Styles
fringed shorts, the leather jacket, the if you were looking at him from approximately 30 yards away, underwater with an eye patch on, you might think that he had turned back the years and that you were looking at a freshly, 21-year-old Lionheart over there. But unfortunately, I was viewing him through an HD camera on my TV set, so I could see that he was, in fact, the Chris Jericho of today. Embarrassing. Absolutely horrific. I will not dignify this match with a rundown. Their opponents were the Don Callis family, the Jet Kevin Knight, the aforementioned Okada, the CMLL World Heavyweight Champion Hechicero, and they beat them.
Don't worry, I'll give this match a rundown since you. Just kidding. No. They basically the final stretch was I think Jericho locked Okada in the walls. Mystico hit La Mystica on Hechicero, and then while they're both in those submissions, Darby hits the coffin drop on the Jet for the 1-2-3, which is setting up their match at All In Wembley. That's all you really need to know. Honestly, we take one person out of this match, be a lot more enjoyable. Yeah,
it's fine. It's totally fine. Yeah. But goddamn, he truly cannot help himself.
Time to wake up. There's a war inside. I will say, Okada's reaction to Mystico's entrance was awesome.
Yeah, that was really good stooging. Okada's just a natural.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, then we get what I thought was a very interesting match for the CMLL Women's World Champion. Not the championship, because the title is not on the line here. But the champion, Persephone, going up against Chris Statlander. Now, Persephone in AEW has been kind of an odd case because, obviously she is still the CMLL World Women's Champion. I've never been happier to be wrong in my life. She beat Tessa Blanchard to retain that belt. Racism is defeated another day. She is a big fucking deal in CMLL and just simply hasn't been treated that way in AEW. She is treated in AEW like a good hand, which, to be fair, she also is. She is a very reliable worker who can have, I think, at bare minimum, a pretty good match with most people on the women's roster. However, there's a perception among probably, I think, people who just watch AEW that she doesn't win, and that's about it. So, she's not a threat to anybody really. There is something to be said for home ground advantage, because she just fucking beat Chris Statlander here. Not even really that much screwy about it. There is a little bit, because there is the Hikaru Shida stuff. Never mind. Yeah, I forgot that they brought in Thunder Rosa's other CMLL women's title to and hit Statlander with it. Persephone did get the frog splash and hit it, not immediately after. So I think Statlander probably still had a chance. This probably was just for the night and to give the CMLL regular fans who were in attendance, a show of hey, we treat your champions seriously too, even though they don't really. Just kind of odd to see Statlander get pinned in such a way by somebody so relatively, lower on the totem pole than she is. I will say Statlander is still good. She needs to figure something out.
Yeah.
I think that since losing the belt, I mean, I think she's taken a little bit of time off, not much. She's still on TV pretty regularly, but she's just not really involved. I mean, the Sheeta thing was awful, like I had said, during the weeks that was happening. So I don't blame her for not being able to get anything thrilling out of that. But I feel like even the work itself now, she just doesn't have anything to sink her teeth into, I think, is the problem. Because it seems like, I don't know, she's not as fiery or snappy against, the people that they're putting her with now in sort of the TBS circle as she was, when she was in the world title circle. So, and maybe that's just a star power differential there that's making me think that, but I do genuinely think that there is something off about Statlander's performances as of late, and I just would like to see her utilized in a way that showcases her strengths more. So we'll see, I guess, how things work out there.
Yep.
Then we got for the World's Trios Championships, the champions, The Demand, who just won these belts just last week on Dynamite. The team of Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona defending against this is not their official name, but I think a pretty good name for them. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Bandito, Brody King, Brodito, and their little buddy, Hangman Adam Page. You knew that shit was not going to go well for the Demand on this particular night from the entrances. I feel like when one team gets a fucking mariachi band and Kemalito by their side, I feel like that's a bad sign for you if you are not that team. I popped massively for Kemalito. He looked very handsome in his mariachi outfit. So, surprise, surprise, Brody King, Bandito, and Hangman work really well together as a tag team. I liked a lot of their offense together. They fit aesthetically better in action than I thought that they would, just initially in my mind. Brody, I think, being the main outlier, because, Hangman and Bandito have whatever Western themes around them. But Brody works just well. They look, I think, really cool altogether. They've been hot-shotting around the trios belts a lot lately, which I actually think I like, because you need to have some little short-term satisfaction burst of dopamine for some crowds, and a quick title change for a title that doesn't mean anything, like the trios belts do, I think is the perfect way to do that. You can have the other, you're gonna have your big months-long world title runs, and the international and the continental and all that kind of stuff. Those all occupy their own kind of niches in terms of how they're used to tell stories during shows. But the trios belts in particular, as kind of the big dumb party belt, I think that's fine. And a better use for them than just being a thing to hold around the waist of the Acclaimed for a calendar year, like it was last time. So, we have a really cool sequence here towards the end where goddamn. By the way, I want to also shout out Toa Leona. Fucking incredible. I love Toa Leona so much. He's so cool. He fucking gets literally all 3 members of the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly up on his shoulders for like a big ass Samoan drop. It looked so cool. But he was maybe my MVP of the match. But Paige, or hold on. So yeah, Brody King lariats Toa, and then dives off to the floor to take out Ricochet and Khan. Bandito tries to get Toa into the 21 plex, but he's holding on to the ropes, and Bandito's just pulling at him. Hangman kicks Leona. Bandito tries again, but instead he just holds Leona by the waist so that Hangman can buckshot him, and then Bandito finishes the sequence for the 21 plex. And then 1, 2, 3. It was a really fun kind of just shot of adrenaline sort of match. So and new trios champs. So we'll see how long that plays out. I don't think it should be very long. But I like the pairing of Hangman with Bandito. So
yeah, I'm the same. It's fun. It's a fun party thing, and it keeps Hangman busy, which is the goal forevermore now, because he can never challenge for the world title. I mean, it would be kind of funny if Hangman just like belt collected every belt that he could get, because he can't.
He gets literally every other one.
He'll get that. He'll get a tag title run. He'll get a singles while he's at it. It'd be hilarious. Also, Kimmelito. When I was won over as soon as I saw Kimmelito, I was like, yeah, give him the belts. Yeah, give him the belts. But yeah, it's just the main, right?
Yes, it is. Going right into it for a Mexico City street fight with no outside interference from the Don Callis family. I heard from somebody say it was not official. It seemed pretty official. But yes, Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis. And gentlemen, I would like to tell you that this was also a match of the year. I fucking loved it.
Disgusting.
It was so just horrible to look at, but in all the best ways. Mark Davis, may I compare thee to a rose on a summer's day. He's so good. Oh man. Will is good too. Will I think worked well here. But yeah, god damn. I hope Mark gets very heavily rewarded for his work, really throughout the whole year, but his stuff, especially with Ospreay. I mean, he had his first match with Ospreay earlier this year, where he won in surprising fashion. I thought was also a match of the year. These two, they know each other inside and out, and you can really feel that. But fuck, man, the way that Davis just decks Ospreay with that barbed wire chair, like right at the very start. Fuck, man. Like, it sent a chill up my spine, and, it made the rest of the proceedings seem just so much more, raw and primal, and, just the exact way that the blood smears on Davis's face. He looks like fucking, God, he looks like something out of Texas Chainsaw, dude.
Yeah.
Ospreay, like, you can say all you want about his, whatever, overacting in the ring. It works in a scenario like this. This is when, I want to see Ospreay's fucking, bug-eyed, crazy screaming and shit. Like, yeah, absolutely. That it fits perfectly here. Yeah, but obviously, look, we all knew how this was going to go, and it's a barbed wire wrapped hidden blade to the back of Mark Davis's head. Not before. Also, I liked the ground elbow strikes that Ospreay's doing. And he worked it into this one. It wasn't the finish, which I think was maybe a mistake. I would have had them actually tease that as a possible match ender for the all-in match later on. But regardless of that, I feel like a barbed wire hidden blade is as good a finish as any. But yeah, so Ospreay gets the win, absolutely just splattered in blood. It was just a real fucking killer, just rush of a match. So Logan, any thoughts there?
You kind of said it yourself more than anything I have to say. This was gross. Mark Davis is, as you said, is every time I see him, I hear We Major start playing in my head. Sure. Yeah, I thought this was I was going through this and I was like, main event, I don't know. I felt like they may give the Mystico match or something in the main event, but then boy, howdy, when those blades job started and things in the aprons, and I was just like, it's been a while since I've seen a blade job, especially Mark's, that I was just disgusted by. Most of the time I'm rah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
It's that thick kind of just gooey.
Especially with the way he has his hair right now is But yeah, we live in the Mark Davis Renaissance, and I'm just happy we do. Grand Slam Mexico is fun. I definitely could see the pay-per-view outlines of it. Though it did feel just kind of the fun party show, Because again, the only title change was the one that nobody cares about, the AEW Never 6-Man Trios Championships. But
right.
It is funny going from just this fun kind of celebration of Lucha Libre and AEW to, all right, it's Continental Cup time on Collision.
That's goddamn right. That's goddamn right. Collision minute. And this one might literally be a minute because I'm just going to be telling you the results of the Continental Cup first round matches from Collision in lovely Colorado Springs, Colorado. So obviously, we ran down a little bit of how this is set up with the random draws and everything. They announced these first round matchups, I think, on that little, selection special thing. And we've got more coming up on both Dynamite and this week's Collision, including the upcoming Nigel McGuinness and Katsuyori Shibata match, which I am so fucking excited for, but that was not on this show. On this show, we had Ace Austin going up against Claudio Castagnoli, which Claudio Castagnoli wins. We then also got Orange Cassidy versus the returning Matt Sydal in his first match back. Bad news, though, for the former Evan Bourne, because he decided to curse himself by aligning with bum-ass Skyflight and essentially guaranteed a first match back loss to freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, who I will say did get Jane back as his theme song instead of Where Is My Mind. And if I speak on my thoughts on that, I feel like I might be booted from this particular show.
You might.
So I will keep that to myself. Then in non-Continental Club action, but I do want to just highlight it because I thought it was really, really fucking good. You should go out of your way to watch the Speedball Mike Bailey versus Myron Reed match. I've been so high on Myron Reed for such a long time, and him and Speedball did their absolute damnedest to tear this fucking crowd down. And they were doing some real wacky shit in this match, but it was wacky in a way that I liked. Not a match of the year, but really fucking good, and just a killer performance from Myron, particularly, who should be way above where he is with his little bum ass rascals friends. But anyways, and then rounding off things in the first round of the Continental Cup here on Collision, we had the highly anticipated, I'm pretty sure literally just by me and Logan Hurston, match between Jake something Doyle and the Mad King, Eddie Kingston. Fellas, are you familiar with dudes? Can I tell you about dudes and how they rock, perhaps? This was my shit. I don't look. If I there are not many things that I think can be said to be objectively true about an art form, really of any kind, especially one as varied as professional wrestling. However, one of the things I do think is objective about professional wrestling is that if you look at Eddie Kingston and you don't get it, this sport is not for you. This is you can watch whatever other bullshit you like, but stay away from this one, all right? Because this is my shit, actually. Look, Eddie, since he's come back from injury, has been on an interesting career path and journey. Obviously, I think it is clear to everybody that has watched that he is a lot more cautious about his body right now, and for good reason. You know, he is an older guy. Pro wrestling is a hard business, and he does not have the luxury of many more injuries like the one that he had recently left in his career before it's just done. Before there is no comeback.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make. I mean, he went through an awful injury.
It was fucking horrific, yeah. And so I do not begrudge him at all for maybe playing it safer, for playing it slower, for taking less high-profile, in the spotlight kind of matches on like a Dynamite or Collision. He's had a couple of Collision matches, but he had the big one with Samoa Joe towards the tail end of last year that I thought was fucking great, and really tapped into the spirit of who Eddie Kingston is at his best. But since then, it has been very under the radar, tagging with Ortiz on Ring of Honor, and on a bunch of little indies that he likes. I have liked his indie runs right now. He had that really like way better than anybody I think really expected it to be match with Charlie Evans and St. Louis Anarchy. He had a like very classic kind of just two big bulky fucks hitting each other with lariats and chops and shit kind of match with Manders over in Rev Pro. So like I have known, because I've watched those matches and I've been trying actively to keep up with him, that Eddie Kingston, when the stars align, when, you know, he is feeling mentally in the right place, is still the same man that he always has been, and will still bring you a type of pro wrestling that you just don't see anymore from so many people, that you know, hit something emotionally in the right place, even if whatever physically it can be messy or sloppy or whoever, or you know, whatever. So you know, like, and look, I'm building I'm giving a lot of build up to this. I don't think that this match with Jake Doyle was a match of the year or anything, but what it was for me was just further confirmation that, I mean, that Eddie has the fire in him, that, you know, that he wants it. Whether or not he can keep wanting it for, you know, another 6 months, a year, you know, or 2 years, that's a different question. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, you know, in the Continental Cup, building on the whole reason why he's in this is because he won the first Continental Classic, because he put on a fucking generational performance in the first Continental Classic, and he has a rare opportunity to prove himself again. Not only, you know, to himself, which is a big through line throughout Eddie's entire career, is proving to himself that he can do it, but to fans who have largely abandoned him, who have fucking, you know, seen him in maybe the worst mental state that he's been in years, and decided that, you know, he's not worth their time anymore. And that's a tough spot to be in. And to see him in this first match with Doyle, at least, just fucking go, you know, pedal to the floor, all gas on it. Like, it made me really happy to see. And Eddie's a special kind of wrestler. I hope to see really big things from him throughout the rest of the Continental Cup, even if he doesn't win it, which I don't think he will. But that's not what he needs to do in this series. What he needs to do in this series is show everybody who the fuck Eddie Kingston is again. So,
yeah, I kind of agree with your point. And I think ultimately, like, it's not a match of the year for me, but one thing Eddie, when he's locked in more than anybody, is like the amount we all watch so much wrestling. I mean, there's 5 hours of North American TV. There's all these G1 matches, not even counting the other companies or the indies or stuff like that. And what I want more than anything, more than the moves, is like to care and connect with the person. They don't have to, again, like, it doesn't have to look great. It doesn't have to be like ballet. It doesn't have to be, you know, big moves or all this stuff. I just want to, like, every punch, I want to feel it. I want to feel like I'm rooting for somebody. And Eddie, more than almost any wrestler working today, can get me to feel that. And so this match was like a step in the right direction for him. I mean, there's very few. I feel like he's one of those, like, dying art breed type of guys, where it's like he doesn't look the greatest. He doesn't have the flashiest moveset. He gets kind of ugly sometimes. That ugliness is what draws me in, you know?
Dude, fuck, man. They're the like, you know, out on his feet, spaghetti legs, like, you know, almost swinging towards the referee. The moment in this match where he pulls that, oh my god, it was so good. It was so real, and I just, like, I found myself looking at my TV screen and being like, no, he's right there, Eddie. If you can just swing your fist in just the right way, in just the right direction, and you can hit Jake Doyle on his fucking chin, then you got this shit. Like, it made me fucking like, rally for him. And I don't do that with a lot of wrestlers these days, So
For sure. It's like, so good. And like his sell too of like Doyle's punch, the way like he walks away, it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's gonna be my two minds fighting if I want Eddie or Nigel to win this whole thing.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not your time, but it's not your time. no, Big Nige is taking it, but yeah, no, I do want Eddie to have
for sure
big things for him.
Well, with that being said, I think it's time to hit that outro in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for listening to the Strongest Style of Pro Wrestling Podcast. That has been it for us this week, but we will be back next week with a few rousing hours of wrestling content. If you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us at Strongest Style on X, the everything out, or Twitter, whatever you prefer. You can follow me at @ByLoganHurston. You can follow Jack at Average Darth. Cooper doesn't have social media, but Cooper, do you have any last words?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just going to be busy setting up the chairs.
We are on all your podcast players of choice, Apple, Spotify. We're also on YouTube. Please like and subscribe and comment and tell us what you love, what you hate, what you don't appreciate, what you do. And if you're listening in India, we appreciate you the most. We will see you guys later. Goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bang!